program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Building a new home can be a challenge, a lot of big choices. With our Remington homes, we have designed 15 different floor plans that appeal to a wide range of people.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com, pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, painted trim, wood floors, more stone, all options with our Remington homes. People do not want to be married to their house payment. You're able to get what you really want in a home for a great price with very limited stress. And that's what Remington homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Hi, I'm Kendall Warnock, owner of A1 Automotive. When it comes to your vehicle, trust matters. At A1 Automotive, we believe in honest inspections, clear communication, and quality repairs done the first time. Whether you drive a BMW, Audi, Volkswagen, Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Porsche, our team is committed to keeping you safe on the road. A1 Automotive, where integrity drives everything we do. Please visit us at 5110 State Hill Drive or give us a call, 402-267-4660. Always honest answers.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion with Window World Lincoln. Are you ready to transform your home? We offer exceptional replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing that will elevate your home's curb appeal and value. As a nationally known, locally owned business, we treat you like family and work tirelessly to deliver the best for less. Don't wait to give your home the upgrade it deserves. Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or check out windowworldlincoln.com. Let's make your home the talk of the neighborhood.
Visit any part of Southeast Nebraska, and you've seen the impact of an SEC grad. At Southeast, we're redefining the community college experience. You'll do more than build a career. You'll build the place you call home. At SCC Grad had an expert who did more to build them up, to focus their drive, to shape their resolve. Southeast Community College. Let's do more.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $195 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1009974, $195 per month, lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, 10,000 due at signing, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees expert. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 8/31/26.
Bagels and Joe is the best place to start off your mornings this summer, and you can order your breakfast ahead of time on their app. This summer's cream cheese flavor is pickle. Pair it with a blueberry cobbler iced latte, and don't forget their Berry Breeze dirty soda. Stop by any of their 4 locations in Lincoln and their location in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped and picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black Shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Hour 1 of Old School is sponsored by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good Monday morning and welcome in to Old School on 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. With you as always, Austin Foreman and Husker Hall of Famer, Black Shirt NFL vet, and so much more. It is Jay Foreman. A bright, sunshiny Monday. Football's in the air, Jay. Scrimmage number 1 in the books. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. The humidity is back.
Oh, was it ever? like it ever left.
Well, it took a couple of hours or days off, and now it's in full effect this early in the morning. So, I mean, this is the weather that you expect during 2 days, not the rain, the late March rain that we've been getting here in the heat of summer.
Rain was nice, cooled it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Nebraska football practicing in the rain, probably going to have to go through that at some point this year.
I mean, I think the more that you can get accustomed to elements, obviously the heat, humidity, rain, wind, snow, or cold weather, I think it allows you to kind of just be business as usual when it comes time to face it. And
as opposed to having to, water down the footballs and put them in the ice tub.
So you already did it. And I think it's just, I mean, do you remember exactly like how it felt with, throwing a wet football or playing in the elements? No, but I think you just get a little bit more confidence out of it.
Well, what's the bigger deal? Thinking about, hey, this is how I have to grip the football, whether I'm a quarterback or, this is how I have to tape my shoes or which cleats, or is it more important to not think about it? Just be used to it?
Yeah, it's not. It's the most important not to think about it. I think you just need to be real diligent in their plan. And I think Jay Terry and Kyle and those guys in the equipment room, they do a really good job of giving guys options. And then maybe, another option in the game, you want to change some stuff as far as like footwear goes. And then, you need to have your own like routine on what you use in elements. And it includes the heat. You got to know how to, first of all, you should always really, really work on, cooling your body, but you got to understand, are you a guy that can drink Gatorade, or you need to water it down, or how many times you need to take a sip of water in between series and all that type of stuff. Because everything that you're doing in practice is really practice for the game. I mean, all the game is you're showing 80 some thousand people. And then everybody on TV, how you practice, how you approach the game, your physicality. Now, it's obviously not always going to be perfect, but it shouldn't be any surprises. You should have a plan A and plan B as far as how to attack the elements, because football just obviously is never controlled. It's always uncontrollable.
I was a 6 towels guy in heat. Your boy sweats.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, some guys are, man. I mean, but you got to know that.
I was slippery.
There's some guys that just are whatever it's called, they just, sweat through everything. And then they, you got to be prepared. I've seen guys, I played with guys, especially, in the NFL, even during, sometimes we play down in Miami or even, in Houston, that they would, in reality, sweat through a jersey. And, or, they would have to take their pads off and change their under, whether they were, like a, compression shirt or whatever it's called. They would have to change it at halftime. And so you got to, obviously that's just part of the game, but it's a small part of the game that could go into big things. I think, I go back to, I don't know if it was Mike Riley or Frost, when one of the punt returners I remember watching this game. I know it was at Minnesota, and I know it was, I call it it's called a Minnesota pre-snow to a huge one. So it's kind of like it's wet, sleety, sleet, and it's coming down, right?
It's like when you squirt the ketchup bottle out first, and it's the little watery stuff at the start.
But
then
it's
you get
coming
the ketchup,
down, right? And it gets on you, and I always say it's like a Spider-Man got you, and it like attacks you. You know what I'm saying? So it goes through everything. But I remember I saw one of the punt returners have loose fit because it was like sleeting or misting before, and then it went straight cold. So that's when the snow's coming, or at least from my experience.
You feel it in your bones when you're there long enough.
Snow's coming either later that night or tomorrow. Well, I saw one of the multiple punt returners have the shirts but they were loose fit, right? And I remember I was watching the game in the garage, and I was like, yo, I said, we're going to drop at least, we won't be able to field punts, or we're going to fumble a punt. And I think, unfortunately, we not only were muffing a lot of punts and all that, because what happens is once it gets wet, it gets cold, it gets extremely slick. And realistically, you should wear from my experience in Buffalo, there's 2 ways to attack it. You obviously warm up in one. I wore a very, very tight one, and it was a thermal, right? But I wasn't a ball carrier. I learned this from Thurman Thomas. He said,
Ball carrier.
Yeah, ball carrier. And obviously he knew the tricks of the trade. So what he would wear a thermal, and whether sometimes he would wear it only the sleeves go down to his bicep, but then he stopped doing it, so it'd go up to like half the bicep. And then he would wear a it's like a sleeve that you would put on your calf or something like that.
Okay.
And he's like, that would just it was kind of like a wetsuit, and you had tons of traction. I mean, so it's no different out here. It's certain gloves. I mean, these guys are blessed with those sticky gloves that probably get more tacky when they get moisture on them. I mean, I know everybody saw the Warren Sapp thing. When you wore the Newmans, well, you got any water on those things, you might as well just take those things off because they would just go to nothing.
While we're on the equipment conversation, Nebraska unveils some new uniforms, Jay. Washington game, trying to force the Big Ten's hand, put it at night.
Well, I think the game is at night.
Not officially. Haven't gotten that confirmed. But.
Yeah, I think the game's at night. I mean, there is some history there. I mean, I remember like 91, 92, or maybe even, 91, 92. Washington, Nebraska had some pretty, cool games. It was actually a weather, affected game, obviously, when we went up there in 97, put it on them, and again, 98. So there is some history there.
Holiday Bowls, back-to-back years,
Bowl,
Jake Walker.
Yeah, I mean, so this is not like foreign territory to play Washington, but it's pretty cool. It's on Halloween night, assuming.
It is on Halloween night, that we know. Well, Halloween, yeah.
It's on Halloween. I think it's going to be a night game.
Ought to be.
So it's a big game. It's remnants of, I think the way the USC game went last year with the blackout, which went, obviously the whole whatever, the bells and whistles was obviously very sellable on TV and in person. Probably setting Nebraska up to have another game like that at night, or it might not be that game, but it will probably get another night game. So in the new uniforms, I mean, obviously they're drastically different. I think it's the first time that the helmet was changed, which is obviously interesting.
Well, at least to not have the N, right? It's pretty much, it's always had the N, but now it's got that script Huskers on it.
So
what do you think?
I mean, it looks good. I mean, the helmet looks really good.
1 to 7 scale for the whole thing.
How it looks?
Yeah.
Let's see. I'd say 4.5, 5. I think it looks good. I mean, I don't really dissect the uniforms. I mean, maybe the front got a little bit too much going on, but I think it, for alternate uniform, it looks good. I think the big problem is obviously, when you change the helmet and all that type of stuff, it's tradition and the foundation. So you got to kind of be ready. I know college football's changed. I understand that. I understand that it's happening, but there's some schools that just don't change. So you just got to kind of, Nebraska's been doing alternate uniforms for
a long time.
And this is probably one of the better ones. I thought last year's were good. And then obviously I think, this year with the helmet, if for an alternate uniform game, it looks pretty dang good.
402-464-5685, the number to our starter Heyman Jewelers text line. 1 to 7 scales, Jay Foreman scale. Let us know how you grade Nebraska football's new alternate uniform set to be unveiled on the field on Halloween, as Jay told you. Gingerbeard Man says these are the best so far.
Ooh. I don't know about that, but they're up there. I mean, when they came out looked like the Stormtroopers. Those are probably one of the worst, right? But I think.
Ooh, I didn't mind the Stormtrooper ones.
The red?
I really didn't.
What was the one where you couldn't really see the numbers?
I think that was like the all whites with like the duct tape numbers.
Yeah, okay, that one.
I didn't mind.
You liked all red, the Stormtroopers?
I didn't know that was a Stormtrooper one.
You don't watch Star Wars enough.
Jay, Stormtroopers are all white.
No, they're the red over there. That's the ones that are on with your boy, man, the old man that.
Oh, the Palpatine's guards, dudes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're all stormtroopers to me. Yeah. I don't really need to get into.
I was going generic stormtrooper. You were going specific.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, no, those aren't my favorite.
It's one of the better ones. I mean, I think Adidas has done a really good job in Nebraska. With the alternate uniforms. I know that Oregon wears different ones all the time, and that's kind of what really what Oregon's uniform changes and having like 8 uniforms a year is really changed the perception of Oregon, and that's why you see people walking around in the airport when I travel. In the kids' minds, they think they're national champs,
right?
But actually, the national champs are like Georgia,
On the
and
runway.
Alabama, Ohio State, and all them that haven't changed anything. But Oregon's made their living off of it, and this is one of the better ones. I'd have to take another look at it.
Carl's on YouTube says it's a 6 out of 7. Crowbait says that the old helmets were the worst. Gus Mohawk, I like these uniforms. I'm not mad about the script on the helmet, but I wish the numbers were black outlined with red. And Eric, you're in, appreciate it as well.
What old helmets is Crowbait talking about? The ones where that were like the leather helmets, the one that were plastered on there, or is he talking about the Nebraska helmet?
Crowbait, let us know which
if he's
which
talking
helmets
about
we
the Nebraska helmet, he might get blocked.
I say that's
you remember when BJ was blocking people?
He full Dikembe. He's going full Dikembe on people. Never forget.
Nah, man.
No, that's the question, though, Jay.
He can't be. The Nebraska helmet, Nebraska's uniform is classic. Period. It is. Line up. We're going to do the same thing, same suit, just reheated. You just getting the same beat down, no matter who it is. It's the can man. Anybody can get it. So,
that's the question, though. Script on the helmet for the first time ever. What does that say about what Nebraska views its brand as? Trying something new just for kicks, or new era again?
I can't answer that. That's above my pay grade. I don't know. That's interesting. It's just interesting. I mean, I'm trying to look at it right now. I know it's in a group text.
Because could you ever imagine Penn State taking the Nittany Lion logo and slapping it on the side of their helmet?
No, I am.
I think it might look good. I know they're never going to do it.
Like forever?
Yeah.
Nah, they ain't never happened. They ain't doing that in Nebraska either. They can't do it.
Ooh, you don't see Nebraska putting football Herbie on the side of the helmet?
For the rest of their...
Not forever, but even just like for one game. See, I don't think...
Well, I mean, anything's on the table for one game.
I don't think Penn State would do it.
I don't think Penn State would do it either, but I think are you talking about Nebraska? They've already done it.
They did Huskers. Would they do football Herbie? Is that Herbie or Little Red on your jacket? I can't tell by logos.
I don't know. Herbie? Is this the country dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they do that. I can see them doing it in the front. I don't think they could do that on that thing.
Crowbait does say the older leather looking ones.
Yeah, that wasn't very good.
That was a problem.
Yeah.
IQ crew, I'm curious if there's still a generation of fans who don't know what the NFUS is about. Back in the day, Nebraska wore numbers on the helmet back in Solich's playing days.
I think young fans have no idea what tradition is. Because majority of young fans are only going to make sure that their bets are getting they're going for underdog and Kalishi. Is it Kalishi? Kalshi.
Yeah.
And
DraftKings, yada yada, Polymarket,
Warhorse Casino.
Well, it's different if you go to Warhorse.
Well, I'm saying they're just going to make sure their bets make their bets. They have no idea what tradition is. I don't think tradition to young fans is that important. Only if you're winning and winning big, then that is the tradition, because they welcome it, because it's a way of life. When you know what I'm saying. And that's just how fandom. Fans is short for fanatics.
Yeah.
So,
and thank goodness Fanatics didn't make these uniforms, because they had a pretty bad run in the NBA.
Yeah, they weren't very good. So no, I don't think they. A lot of people know, and this isn't really. We got 4. I mean, realistically, be honest with you, what you're seeing, like I would say, the cause and effect. If people are really upset about like the alternate uniforms and script on the helmet, this didn't start right now.
No,
it started back like when Steve Peterson and them were here, and Bill Callahan. Seriously, and whoever made those decisions, that's where it started. Now, it doesn't mean it's like totally wrong, but you got also it's just real, being real about it. And you can't be, you got to be open to change. But I still think you can be open to change without losing your tradition.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think about like Nebraska volleyball, right? They have the red tops, they have the white tops, and they debuted the all black look.
Yeah.
I don't know how long ago that was, but you know why it worked? You know why people are okay with it? Because they won.
Yeah.
I don't think people are mad about the uniform, right? Sure, that's the surface level conversation. But if Nebraska wins in the alternate uniform, no matter what it looks like, it's everyone's favorite. Or it's a cult classic. I don't love the look of it, but we're winning in it. May as well keep running it out there. It comes back to wins and losses.
It's
Always
no different
does.
when Nebraska were all white, right? They haven't had success in all white, because the Minnesota game was all white, right?
think so.
But it
Yeah,
had the
one
pink
of
highlight,
yeah. Mhm.
So,
Yep.
those are the things that, you got to, when you do things, you just got to make sure you play well.
Mhm.
Then it doesn't really matter. I mean, I remember, now granted, when we were in Houston, or I could tell you two different stories. So we're in Buffalo, and this is when like the alternate uniforms were kind of just being talked about. And I remember Ralph Wilson came into our team meeting, right? And this is like during the season, he'd come in the locker room after the games, but I ain't never see him during the week because I wasn't at that level. Number one, Thurman and them would go up there and hang out with him. Like I was just.
Oh, so he would see you during the week, but you wouldn't see him.
Yeah, that's
okay.
what he saw. Well, he saw people that saw me during the week, and there was no reason for him to hang out with Jay Foreman at that point in time until I started to kind of.
Is the note he was missing
until he knew my name. He didn't know my name until he didn't tell me. He didn't say good game, Jay, until I had like 4 good games in a row, where he had to. He had to. Did
he come down to talk to Bruce and Thurman and you were there too?
The first time I got in the game, and made a couple special teams tackles or whatever, caused a fumble. He talked to Thurman, right, and then there's me, just like dipped his head to me, and then went right to Bruce.
I can just picture him like looking.
But the best part is he looked up. Hold on, man.
At your name tag?
Yeah, man. I was all excited. I was so excited that he was going to say something to me. You know what I mean? He looked up and just kept it moving. I was like, I just turned right around. I was like, dang.
What's worse, that or if you would have asked Thurman, what's 56's name when you're standing right there?
Probably if he would have asked Thurman, because Thurman would have put you on blast. You know what I'm saying? Thurman used to be he used to come in the locker room. And he was like, it's cut and bubble day. He's like, some of you guys been playing around in practice. Reality's about to hit you, because he was safe.
Right?
Right.
If anyone was.
I know I told the story about when we had we didn't do co-practices then.
Mm-hmm.
So we scrimmaged against ourselves, and then obviously we play the preseason game. So right before we played our first preseason game, and now mind you, when you're a rookie, every day is like stressful and anxiety. Number one, I really shouldn't have been there, because I was like, they were like, you've been the highest dude on our board for the last round, but we really ain't got a spot for you. Figure it out. Right. And they didn't draft me so high that I knew I was going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So every day was not a fun, it wasn't, peaches and cream. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we got this scrimmage, and, you're trying to, I'm trying to, make some, headway. And Thurman's out there all spatted up. He's got a towel. He's got his helmet. He's game mode, right? Mm-hmm. I think he even maybe came out in a game jersey.
Woo!
And was woofing. So I knew that I was second team. So I wasn't technically second on the depth chart. I was third, because it was me and my man Dusty Renfro. So I was like,
Big Renfro.
Yeah, we're going against the ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I got to lock in, you know what I mean? Because it's Thurman Thomas. Man, he was talking junk. Get out there. And, we did kind of a little walkthrough 7-on-7 where you're kind of thudding. Then they were blow the whistle. It's on. Special teams, defense run out there. And when you're in there, you're just trying to make plays. And you just think, oh, maybe Thurman's not in or whatever. So we get back and we watch the tape. That night, the scrimmage. Man, I look up in the corner, so we're, they show it the video.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Thurman and Bruce are up there in the right corner, back behind everybody, with a golf club, and they had their AFC Pro Bowl. This is when they had the visors. There was all. Hold on, this is the best part. They were a plastic and said Pro Bowl, and it had a kind of like a wristband, headband.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It was back then, right? They back there with a golf club, Bruce and Thurman, taped up, working on their golf swing, and
and you're fighting for your life.
Bruce is swinging, Thurman's no, you need to do it like this. And so the reason why, because Ted Control was look at these two working on their golf game. Probably going to go play 9, in between training camp. But back to the uniforms with Ralph Wilson. I remember it was my 3rd or 4th year, and he came in. I guess it must have been in the paper or something like that. And he's like, we ain't doing it. It was a big deal when they changed the color of the face mask. We wore a white face mask and all that. It was a big deal. Now, eventually they did change the uniform, but they didn't change the foundation of the uniform in Buffalo. Now we fast forward to them ugly uniforms they got right now in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the flip side, when we were down in Houston, we had our regular jerseys, and then they came up with Battle Red Day. Man, I think we played Peyton Manning and them on the first, but man, they walked the dog on us. Oh my God.
Say you're out for blood, just wasn't sure it was going to be your own.
Oh my God. It was like, everybody's like, it's the uniforms. Offense was crappy. Defense was horrible. Special teams was like the worst. I mean, we had probably 12 penalties, 12 sacks. They just worked out on us. And then all that thing, we ain't wearing, I remember walking the locker, we ain't wearing them uniforms no more. Wore it the next year, and I don't think we beat Carolina. So we were fine. And then the third year, I remember we lost. But now now they win all the time with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big deal.
So you got to save them for like a homecoming game, right? You got to break them up for like Jacksonville
when
or
you expansion team,
Vegas,
you are the homecoming game on your own homecoming. you know, they was coming down here and getting their stats against us, working out on us. I mean, I remember that, man. I was like, man, these uniforms, because the bad part was the first year of the Battle Red is that, you know, I might be sponsored. I was sponsored by Nike. Another guy sponsored by this. And then, it just was like a lot of chaos because, they didn't have, you had to wear, NFL back then, it was so like, they just loved to try to fine you $2,500 for how high your socks were. Or if you didn't have, remember they had, well, you probably don't remember, is that like Nike would send me compressions. Okay. So on TV, you could maybe see the swoosh. Well, then the NFL started making their own, but the fabric and stuff was garbage. It was horrible, but you had to wear it. So you had to get all new red ones then. You know what I'm saying? And it was just.
So you could wear your Nike ones at practice.
Yeah, and the dude, Jay, it was his name, Jay Bernetti. He used to throw my stuff away. Man, I used to get so mad at him. I was like, yo,
throw it away?
Yeah. Because like and he would take it out of our mesh bag. So finally I went in there and confronted him. Hey man, that's money you throwing away. Just give it back to me. He's like, well, you can't wear it in the game. Yeah, okay.
We'll see about that.
So I start putting tape on it. But yeah, so it's really realistically uniforms just kind of, I think you can do some stuff, but the biggest thing is you got to make sure that tradition when you're a blue blood isn't changed.
That is the tricky line.
Yeah,
being open to change, but not ripping out.
Because you have to in this day and age. In theory, reality is, I think to withstand, in my opinion, some storms, and we could talk about it. I thought about this storms in your history of your football program. I think tradition is one of those things that allow you to do, like, keep your head above water.
You need your constants, right? What are your rocks?
Yeah.
What are you built on?
Because that's what you always will come back to when you start winning again.
For sure.
Yeah.
Let's pause the conversation there. We'll take our first break of the show. Big thanks to Graham Tire Company for their sponsorship of Old School, celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs, too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. It's Graham Tire getting you to the places that matter most. Keep your thoughts coming on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line, as well as on our streams. We'll get to more of your thoughts and pick up that conversation next.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions with pay starting at 23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offer great pay, health, dental, and vision, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $195 per month for 36 months. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1009974. $195 per month lease for 36 months with approved credit. 7,500 miles per year. 10,000 due at signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees expert. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 8/31/26.
Moms already know It's the one time all summer where everything comes together. The kids are happy. The food is incredible. And somewhere between the birthing pavilion and the drone show, your whole family is together in a way that's hard to find anymore. It all happens here at the Nebraska State Fair, August 28th through September 7th in Grand Island. Visit statefair.org.
Hi, I'm Kendall Warnock, owner of A1 Automotive. When it comes to your vehicle, trust matters. At A1 Automotive, we believe in honest inspections, clear communication, and quality repairs done the first time. Whether you drive a BMW, Audi, Volkswagen, Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Porsche, our team is committed to keeping you safe on the road. A1 Automotive, where integrity drives everything we do. Please visit us at 5110 State Hill Drive or give us a call, 402-267-4660. Always honest answers.
Building a new home can be a challenge, a lot of big choices. With our Remington homes, we have designed 15 different floor plans that appeal to a wide range of people.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com, pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, painted trim, wood floors, more stone, all options with our Remington homes. People do not want to be married to their house payment. You're able to get what you really want in a home for a great price with very limited stress. And that's what Remington homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Hey, Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion with Window World Lincoln. Are you ready to transform your home? We offer exceptional replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing that will elevate your home's curb appeal and value. As a nationally known, locally owned business, we treat you like family and work tirelessly to deliver the best for less. Don't wait to give your home the upgrade it deserves. Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or check out windowworldlincoln.com. Let's make your home the talk of the neighborhood.
Visit any part of Southeast Nebraska, and you've seen the impact of an SCC grad. At Southeast, we're redefining the community college experience. You'll do more than build a career. You'll build the place you call home. At SCC Grad had an expert who did more to build them up, to focus their drive, to shape their resolve. Southeast Community College. Let's do more.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Daytime highs approaching 88 this afternoon under overcast skies with a slight chance of thunderstorms. Southeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, slight chance of rain showers. Lows dip down to about 71. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Currently 78.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting lincolnteammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they're committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perchmerch.com.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in hour one of Old School. Hour one of the show brought to you by the good folks at Heartland of Nebraska Windows, based out of Hallam, Nebraska. You can learn more about all sorts of great stuff they've got going on by calling 402-430-3852. You can also visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Lots more to get to on the uniforms, Jay, but people have their thoughts. But also, in terms of the traditions, right? You mentioned that it's been among the rockiest times, if not the rockiest times for Nebraska writ large over the last, let's call it 20 years. Like you said, you go back to Peterson firing Solich, Callahan, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think things are obviously at the, Callahan level, like a lot of people would say, or certainly better than Riley and Frost, but still Nebraska is navigating its way through some pretty turbulent waters. And I think to your point, tradition can be kind of that lighthouse or, the bedrock to build the house on. And you got to make sure you renovate the kitchen and the bathrooms and do the painting without having to rip up the foundation necessarily.
Yeah, for sure. What is it? HGTV?
Mm-hmm.
People come in and, they're like, oh, this house has, great foundation. It just needs to be, spruced up a little bit. This day and age, college football is drastically different in every form or fashion that you can look at it. But I do think when you go through lean times that your tradition, if you're a blue blood, your tradition is what always kind of brings you through that. Now, if you want an example, everybody knows I hate Notre Dame.
You do?
With a passion.
And not just because they wear mediums now.
Marcus Freeman's all right, man. I just had to have a conversation with him. But you know what? He came up like the mob, so I'm going to give him a ton of credit. And he's done a great job there. But when you think after Lou Holtz left, the kind of the dark days of Notre Dame, were long. From Davey, I felt like they shouldn't have fired Whittingham. Charlie Weiss was just a little bit of uptick, and I'm sure I'm missing a coach here or there. Obviously, you had Brian Kelly that kind of was consistent, but then, to Notre Dame standard, was steadily getting embarrassed when they were grandfathered into situations they weren't ready to compete at.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it nullified everything that you did before. Now, Brian Kelly, before he left abruptly, I think he started to kind of turn the corner a little bit. And then I think Marcus Freeman has obviously done it. But, before that, by Notre Dame standards, there was some lean times, some dark times. If you want to look at Michigan as well, Florida State's going through it right now. Miami has went through it. They seem like they're coming back up. They were slowly but surely after Manny Diaz, right? And then obviously I think Cristobal kind of has it. But it's very, very tradition-based in the foundation of – and he said it best, right? So if you don't want to look at the Notre Dame example, we have a new age example of it, right? You have an old school coach. Mario Cristobal is old school as can be.
Mm-hmm.
A former player, tough as nails, went through the Saban kind of coaching tree, but he's back at Miami. He's brought the traditions back, but also he's welcoming the new way of college football the way it is.
Yeah.
And so I think, allowed them in the short term right now to have some success, but it's something that they had to build up towards. But he was able to build it a little bit faster because I was, lucky enough to go down there when my dad went into the Ring of Honor and it has his name in the stadium, along with the other greats, is that to go through their, he was talking to my dad, but I got to sit in on the meeting, go through how they went through practice. He talked about his process and his year-to-year plan and recruiting and all that. And there's a lot of things that he went through as a player and learned early in his coaching career, which is obviously more towards tradition-based.
Whenever things are going wrong in an organization at any level of sports and business, whatever, do you add more to the menu or do you go back to the basics? You always go back to the basics. And that's on the field, that's in the day-to-day. But I think that has to carry over to the big picture stuff too, doesn't it?
I think it's really sports now is really, and this is no different. It's generally about the people. The people make the product. That's the people that's doing the leading, people doing the playing, people doing the coaching and all that. Really underneath that, the people is what's going to allow them to be successful. So that's where you really got to address first. And you really just got to go in. Look, for Sean Payton to go into New Orleans in that situation and rehab that, it couldn't have been just bare bones to have instant success.
Sure.
No, you can't say that necessarily with.
It was simple, if not easy.
Yeah, but it was a lot of hard work. But the simplicity in the plan went back to the basics, and the basics are huge. What do you lean on when you get into pressure under the most intense pressure during the games? You go on your basics. You go on your fundamentals. So you can do both, and look, anytime there's change, people definitely always push back on it. You eventually welcome it, and look, it's going to be a night game is going to be another blackout, and it could be something that Nebraska turns into like Penn State. I don't think does Penn State do a whiteout every year?
Yeah. Every
Okay,
year.
so it's something that you could possibly do, but Penn State hasn't broken tradition, so it's you can do it, but you also have to understand like where your bread is buttered. I don't think Nebraska is like totally breaking it, but if you're asking if that's what the helmet needs to be for the rest of the time, I would probably say no.
You mentioned the people. What we see, what we hear, what we learn from Nebraska in its first scrimmage of the fall.
Well, it seemed like, they seemed like they were pretty excited. Listening to some of the audio, and it's just part of the process. I feel like they're I think Coach Rule said they're having a pretty decent camp, and a lot of competition. Still or competitive, or for the spots are still open. And so that's a coach's dream where you have, the one thing I can say when you watch it, and we were lucky enough to talk to some of the guys at the Big Ten, and I've seen some of the guys. I mean, we saw a couple of them in the airport. They're going off to various places. That the guy, I feel like this is, I feel like the guys that they brought in, and which is hopefully spread throughout the team, but the guys they brought into the portal, which is a lot of older players, which kind of instantly can provide some leadership qualities. Actually like football, love football. You can see it, that they want it. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that everybody that was here in the past didn't, but I think some guys were here before a little too comfortable and probably were overcompensated to a point that made them too comfortable because they were good players, great kids, and transition kids. But I think the guys that they brought in actually want to go out there and ball. Now, will it be perfect or like to the level that you want it to be and be 12-0? Most likely not. But when you have guys that actually love the game of football, it really goes a long way.
We get this from Bada Bing. Is it normal to only do one scrimmage and add in Dana saying he hopes it's their only scrimmage? I would guess Nebraska would tackle again before September 5th. That's a long time to go if they're not going to.
Well, I mean, the first 3 games are scrimmages.
Need to be treated as such.
Well, they are. And now, granted, I would, we scrimmage all the time, so that's the only thing I know, right? So so sure. But they have a plan, so you got to, let the plan go out. But let's be honest, the first 3 games are scrimmages. Now, it's not going to just be rollover scrimmages, but that's where they are kind of scrimmages. And the good part about it is, in my opinion, and that's the only thing I can do is give you my opinion, is it primarily like when you're talking on defense, right? And you know what, I'm going to say the whole team, is that normally if we were playing those type of teams when I played, or like teams that were bringing, like when you didn't have the portal, but when you always had, Adrian Martinez, you had Tommy Armstrong, you had Zach Lee or whoever, you know what I mean? All these guys that you knew that was, you had the head coach, offense court, you had your line and everything. Guys generally might be out of the game by halftime, ideally.
Yep.
Right? Sometimes even before, if you're really rolling, especially in that early game where you feel like, all right, we want to get everybody in and get them some real live reps. I think with this team, as you're trying to gel because of the portal, I think you have to play like the starters. I wouldn't even tell them, or my top 2 units, or let's say my travel squad guys, the guys that are going to be getting on the plane in like 4 weeks. I wouldn't tell them you're playing until we decide it. We don't know. My advice to you: play balls to the wall. Why is that important? Is because every rep that they can get together against these type of opponents is essentially a scrimmage, and they're going to hopefully build some continuity because you haven't played together enough to be out by second quarter.
Right.
So everything's new. How do you guys prepare at halftime? How do you guys react at halftime? How do you come out of halftime? How do you win those first, it might not be 6 minutes in this games, but the first, 2 or 3 series? Mm-hmm. How do you guys react as a team? How do you guys come out as a team? How's your energy level? Who's talking at halftime? Who's going to really be leading? Who's our leaders when the bullets really start firing? Everybody's learning that right now, and so, in that case, before or after September 5th, that's the way I feel. Before it, I don't necessarily think that if they don't do a scrimmage, they're not just going to be out there just playing patty cakes for they'll hit each other. Might have some live periods and stuff like that beforehand, but maybe not a full on scrimmage.
We've seen Nebraska be willing to put the starters out there in the second half of blowouts. I think was it Akron last year.
Yeah.
It was the Raiola Key touchdown they did. They might have done that at Houston Christian too, but I know I seem to remember Akron being a game where Nebraska, with a big halftime lead, did throw the starters back out there to start the second half just to say, hey, let's get one more possession. Let's, end on a base hit, end on a make, from other sports comparisons.
Yeah,
so they're more than happy to do that.
Hey, and if the energy isn't good, then you're going back out there because
you have to.
Yeah, because you have to. You want to set the standard. But also, these guys have to learn how to play with each other. You're in a controlled environment for the most part right now.
Yeah.
Now that you're getting 3 games that are very winnable, very attainable as far as being able to, really, really, put it on them. Let's see how you guys do it. Let's see how you deal with success. Let's see actually how you play in game 1, right? Have success. Say you have individual and collective success as a team. Let's see how you react in game 2. Okay. Say you do the same thing in game 2. Okay. Let's see how you do in game 3. There might be even a lesser opponent. Mm-hmm. Then we can go back and evaluate the week's preparation. You know what I'm saying? Now, that all, but leading up to that, look, these coaches have been around.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go just do 2 weeks of walkthrough and go play a game.
Not how that
works. They're gonna get after it some. Now, if it's not a scrimmage, it's not a scrimmage, but they're gonna get after it. They're gonna have to play at a high rate of speed and continue to build up for that first game.
It's got to be just semantics. Even if you don't want to call it a scrimmage, it's got to be physical.
Yeah.
You got to build up to it, I think, is what Nebraska needs to do. We'll go to break. More of your thoughts from the Starter Heyman Jewelers text line and more to wrap up Hour 1.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they're committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perchmerch.com.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Daytime highs approaching 88 this afternoon under overcast skies with a slight chance of thunderstorms. Southeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, slight chance of rain showers. Lows dip down to about 71. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Currently 78.
Looking for a fun way to give back? Join us for the 2026 Kicks for Kids Nebraska Fun Run Walk, presented by Pinnacle Bank, on Saturday, August 22nd at James Arthur Vineyard. Enjoy a scenic 5K through beautiful grounds. Every step helps provide shoes to kids in Lincoln and Lancaster County schools, with options for adults, wine included, and kids. Registration fees include a t-shirt, medal, and bag. Sign up today and make a difference at kicksforkidsnebraska.org.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
If one of the things running through your mind as a business owner is the recurring worry of possible cyber attacks, you can let out a sigh of relief. Hamilton Business Technologies has you covered. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we offer real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and more to keep your data safe from harm. We care about the success of Nebraska businesses and communities like yours. Learn how we can help you at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
The Friends with Central States Hydraulic Services here in Lincoln would like to take this time to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from Central States Hydraulic Services here in Lincoln. Let's stay united and keep America safe and strong.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Building a new home can be a challenge, a lot of big choices. With our Remington homes, we have designed 15 different floor plans that appeal to a wide range of people.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com, pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, painted trim, wood floors, more stone, all options with our Remington homes. People do not want to be married to their house payment. You're able to get what you really want in a home for a great price with very limited stress. And that's what Remington homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs, quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside's margaritas and old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Hey Husker fans, Coach Amy Williams here, thanking you so much for your support of Nebraska women's basketball. Season tickets go on sale August 17th, and we want you at PBA with us as we take the next step forward as a program. Our Huskers are hunting a school record tying 4th straight NCAA tournament bid, and we want you there with us every step of the way. Get your season tickets at Huskers.com. And let's win the day at PBA. Go Big Red.
Some moments deserve more than ordinary jewelry. At Sartor Heyman, we've helped Lincoln celebrate life's biggest occasions for over 120 years. With quality craftsmanship, timeless gifts, and diamonds you can see from across the room. From our exclusive Heartland collection to custom design pieces, every detail is made with care by experienced jewelers you can trust. Whether you're celebrating love, family, milestones, Sartor Heyman has a gift for every occasion in life.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up hour one of Old School show, and hour one is brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Free estimates, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and lifetime warranties on everything while keeping their prices affordable, locally and family owned with their own team of installers. All that and more at Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Lots on the Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line to get to here. Kansas Randy, appreciate you guys chiming in. Crowbait as well. We are more than happy to put up with you. We will only block you if you cross the line. You are not quite at the Eric line quite yet, but we'll give you some chance. Scott in Minnesota says, I actually like the black uniform without making it all black shirts merchandising because I think there are only 11 black shirts at a time, not 105 of them.
Oh, like that. I mean, look, man. I mean, it's like I said. I mean, we've been doing this, changing for a while, and you know what? My Dave Grant that texted in from Florida. Big shout out to him. He's a huge Husker fan, and he lives down in Florida. He coaches high school football down there. But he was saying that this isn't the first time the N hasn't been on an alternate uniform helmet, because they had, what do you say, in 2009 is when they did the ones with the leather helmets. I don't think N was on it. Let me read.
So they did the Illinois ones. They also did the Utah looking throwbacks against Buffalo, the kind of military appreciation.
Yeah, he
ones.
said there was no N on the helmet in 2000. He said he says I want to say about 2009. So this is not the first time that this has happened.
Well, it's the first time it's the script Huskers.
Sure, but it's not but it's not about the script. It's about the N. That's the thing.
Okay.
Right? Sure, they had numbers on it before, so that was it, and that was a change. And now you had the N, which has been around for I don't know.
Forever.
Forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sure, the script is different and all that. It's just different, and so that's just where we're at.
But I
the
think
best thing that you could do to make that uniform look real good is go out there and lay that hammer down on Washington.
And that's what Kansas Randy said. 25, I know Nebraska's tradition. It's the red and white, ready to kick your butt every game like they did in the 90s. And then Gus Mohawk wants to know, Jay, when you were a player, would you want to play a highly ranked opponent early or work out some kinks against lesser opponents in those scrimmages?
I want all 12 bangers. But we were fortunate. We always kind of played good opponents. So, I mean, I like to play. I mean,
and you treated your good opponents like scrimmages.
Hey, anybody can get it. Anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place. I think like you don't get to choose when you get to play people. I think college football has changed so much, and I'm not making any excuse. Just reality is that it was so important to have a good, like, big non-conference opponent. That was like making you legit. If you didn't, then you're like, oh, because even like here's an example. Recent 2019 Minnesota, their non-con was like South Dakota State,
Fresno State,
and the blue Alabama team that ran like they barely beat them.
Oh yeah,
that was their non-con, right? So then, as they started to win, they won all those games. Now they all kind of were like down to the last wire, but they won those games. But people weren't giving them any credit, and it took a little bit all the way until the middle of the season till they're like, oh, okay, these guys are actually not the same old Gophers. Well, that's because you could play. Remember when USC played Bama and all this other stuff? You could get more kudos for losing that game than playing that. Well, then that's where it was for a little while, and then it changed. Nebraska, obviously, and everybody else changed it because, look, you saw what Kirk Cinetti and those guys did. They played like 3 cupcakes, but they was beating them boys like they stole something, man. I mean, you know what I mean? And so then that got the shock value. And I think it's like up in the air whether you want to play a hard non-conference or not. I'd like to play one, but it is what it is.
My understanding of the 4-team college football playoff era scheduling model was you wanted to play the toughest schedule you could go undefeated against. And now I think that's changing a little bit with the expanded playoff. I'm sure it'll change even more with the expanded playoff. And it kind of goes in waves, right? Because sometimes it's about being undefeated. Sometimes it's about strength of schedule and, hey, you're in the playoff.
What it looks like, what type of players you have, who you are in Notre Dame. They get in automatically, and maybe when they expand the playoffs, then the more teams would be apt to play like good teams early because we want to finish strong. I think it's so important from about that 6th game on that you got to catch fire because that's when reason why it's actually game 4, but I'll just go 6. It's actually 5, but I don't like odd numbers. But here's the deal: they have enough tape on you that you're not surprising anybody, right? When you play against like good on good. And that's not necessarily, even if you're playing the highest ranked teams or the teams that are in your pool area. So they have enough tape on you. So you're not surprising anybody. So that's when it gets down to those white knuckle games. That's why it's so important to finish strong. But you can jettison yourself or yourself to able to slip up early by having that early like non-con big game and win. And so it's however you do the schedule.
It's how you do the schedule, and it's what you learn from the schedule.
But you could set the schedule because, you could set the schedule like however you want and be a university, and say, all right, we're locked in. And, the coach gets fired here. James Franklin gets fired. Well, then now you lose Matt Campbell. And then Utah, they kind of forced out Whittingham, but then you get him. Or Sharon Moore, does his thing. You could be set up to think like, okay, we are moving in the right direction, and then something that indirectly affects your movement. Then you're stuck like Chuck with this schedule. And
who put this game on the schedule? Why would they ever do that? Made sense of the
because
time.
it changes recruiting, it changes your identity, it changes sometimes, your foundation and all that stuff. It takes a little while to get going.
Speaking of recruiting, we will talk with Brian Munson coming up at 10:30. We'll go to break, head into hour 2 of Old School right after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Some moments deserve more than ordinary jewelry. At Sartor Heyman, we've helped Lincoln celebrate life's biggest occasions for over 120 years. With quality craftsmanship, timeless gifts, and diamonds you can see from across the room. From our exclusive Heartland collection to custom design pieces, every detail is made with care by experienced jewelers you can trust. Whether you're celebrating love, family, milestones, Sartor Heyman has a gift for every occasion in life.
If one of the things running through your mind as a business owner is the recurring worry of possible cyber attacks, you can let out a sigh of relief. Hamilton Business Technologies has you covered. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we offer real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and more to keep your data safe from harm. We care about the success of Nebraska businesses and communities like yours. Learn how we can help you at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Looking for a fun way to give back? Join us for the 2026 Kicks for Kids Nebraska Fun Run Walk, presented by Pinnacle Bank, on Saturday, August 22nd at James Arthur Vineyard. Enjoy a scenic 5K through beautiful grounds. Every step helps provide shoes to kids in Lincoln and Lancaster County schools, with options for adults, wine included, and kids. Registration fees include a t-shirt, medal, and bag. Sign up today and make a difference at kicksforkidsnebraska.org.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they're committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perchmerch.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
The Friends with Communication Systems Solutions here in Lincoln remind you that the need for blood continues daily. Unfortunately, our blood banks are extremely low. Our community and our country depend on life-saving donors like you. You are eligible to donate every 56 days, and with each donation, you save up to 3 lives. Please go online and schedule an appointment to donate blood today. Thanks to Communication Systems Solutions here in Lincoln for making this message possible. They are a shining example of why America is a strong nation.
In every city, every town, there's a Husker fan. You show up, you stand out no matter where the road takes you. And wherever Husker Nation goes, life doesn't slow down. That's why Emeritus makes dental and vision coverage simple. Quick quotes, affordable options, and nationwide access for fans everywhere. Choose the coverage that fits your journey. Emeritus, fulfilling life, fueled by Husker pride. Go to emeritus.com/Husker Dental for more information.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs, quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside's margaritas and old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
The Friends with Central States Hydraulic Services here in Lincoln would like to take this time to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from Central States Hydraulic Services here in Lincoln. Let's stay united and keep America safe and strong.
The friends at the Nebraska Animal Medical Center here in Lincoln would like to take this time out to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from Nebraska Animal Medical Center in Lincoln. For all your pets' needs, visit namcvet.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time. And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yes, indeed. Welcome in hour 2 of the show, brought to you by Graham Tire Company. They're the show sponsor. Really appreciate them. He's Jay. I'm Austin. You're you. Thanks for dialing us up here on a beautiful Monday. Approaching 2 weeks till Nebraska football kicks off, and we got plenty more to get to on Nebraska football throughout the course of things. We'll talk some Huskers in the pros here and some Nebraska football recruiting coming up in hour 2. Jay, before we get to that, some thoughts from our starter Heyman Jewelers text line. Downtown Scott wants to know, Jay, was it your aversion to odd numbers or your respect for Jaden Daniels that didn't let you say Game 5?
Okay, yeah, I didn't even know Jaden Daniels had Jedi mind tricks already. Yeah, I mean, I think now they kind of clowning him though, man.
Everyone.
That's
the end of the internet is not forgiving.
Yeah, I mean, but the universities too. I think I saw where there's his dad, the kid's dad, and him are selling jerseys or selling T-shirts. Hey, man, I'm gonna tell you. I remember that video when Cam Newton was at that youth camp, and those kids were disrespecting him. Now, Cam Newton's probably acquired taste. You know, he's kind of
aren't we all
brash and all that, but he's an iconic figure. He's changed the game of football and changed the quarterback position, modern day, right now. And the way those kids disrespected him when he was trying to give them some free advice, good advice for them to be successful. The way that some of the LSU players or the one player and his dad and stuff, I mean, obviously they got to, they see it as an opportunity. But the way that they're, some of those players are kind of going, they're kind of disrespecting Jaden Daniels. Listen,
his freshman All-American is not the same as Heisman.
That ain't nothing. This so happens they were so bad that you played, because normally you're not playing as a true freshman as at LSU. And don't sleep and don't think that Lane Kiffin won't recruit over you. Better yet, you had a great freshman year. Jaden Daniels won the Heisman. Jaden Daniels is cold-blooded in the league, the one that you're desperately trying to get to. Did Jaden Daniels probably not handle it right? Probably not. But I think there's probably some broken promises that led to that. And Lane's just sitting back there just
cackling.
Just letting it happen. But yeah, no, it's not for Jaden Daniels.
Gus Mohawk wants to know, Jay, how did coaches prep you when it wasn't a quote-unquote big game? Practice easier, harder, the same? What does that week look like?
It was harder. I'll never forget. We played Pacific one time. I always talk about this. It was a race to get like 3 or 4 tackles, because I think I played at like 11 plays. 11 plays. And the practice that week was no different. It was intense. It was physical. Heck, it might even been more, because Coach Osborne, we just had that standard. Our biggest opponent was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when we were going good on good and against ourselves. So we didn't change. It wasn't like, oh, we're playing Pacific, we're gonna cut practice down. No, we're getting after it. They're gonna feel us just like everybody else did, and because we knew once that page is turned with Pacific, we're on to the next one. We got to be ready to go. Whether we're playing a team like Washington State that threw the ball all the time, or like Wyoming when they threw the ball all the time, or Pacific that wasn't very good, or Akron when they weren't, or when we played Central Florida, that was a drastically different team. I think the way you go about what you do sometimes is what you do all the time, and that's the way it has to be. And I think that
that's part of tradition. What's our standard?
Yeah.
How do we get it?
Yeah, Coach Osborne. Listen, don't sleep on Coach Osborne, dude. Yo, I mean, I know I've told this story, right? When I went past, I don't know what grade I was in or whatever. Do you even call it grade when you're in college? What grade you're in? Yeah, that's high school.
Class, yeah. 13th grade, 14th grade, 15th grade, 16th. Yeah.
I don't know. It might have been the year that my freshman year, I was starting. I'll never forget. We were walking back on the track. So we practiced outside, obviously not in the stadium. And it was hot outside. And I remember it was one of those practices. I was like, dang, we got after it. Live everything. You know what I'm saying? And we always conditioned after practice. So when you're walking back, that's funny. When you're walking back to actually South Stadium, so we had to walk all the way back far from the
sure.
Yeah, essentially from the Cook all the way over there.
Whew.
And you just ran about 4 gas stations. Them hamstrings are on fire, right? So you ready to get to your bench. And I remember Coach Osborne, I think he was about to go for his run. He's like, well, Jay, how's it going? It's going good, Coach. I think, we ready. I was like, hey, man, because we had a game coming up. I was like, hey, man, you tried to break us down. I can't believe I said it to him. I think Coach Osborne used to look at me sometimes like, you ain't even good enough to be saying this to me. You know what I'm saying? I said, man, you broke us down. You tried to break us down today. And we're walking next to each other. He took like 3 or 4 steps. He was like, yeah. He's like, but I have you built back up by the time the game starts. And kept it moving. He was like, yeah, we tested you today. We broke you down today.
That's right, Foreman.
You'll be all right by the time the first game. I was like, that's cold-blooded.
And it worked. He was right.
I said, man, let me go ahead and get up these stairs, man. I got to get out this heat, man, because I know I'm broke down right now. He didn't break us down. So, no, it never changed with T.O. He going to run up 280 plays every day.
Come hell or high water.
Yep. Don't matter. Rain, sleet, or snow. It don't matter. We're going to be out there running them plays.
Speaking of running, Emmett Johnson running all over the Rams. 12 carries, 60 yards. Plenty more called back because of illegal procedures and holdings and whatnot on the offensive line. And 10 missed tackles, according to Pro Football Focus. Nobody else with more than 5 in week 1 of preseason. Emmett Johnson, watch out, Kenneth Walker. He's coming for your job.
I ain't having it.
Heck of a debut, though.
No, but it is. I mean, look, your first game is always first. It doesn't matter if it's preseason or not. You always remember it. And, Emmett, I think he led the nation in most missed tackles, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Or something like that.
A lot of them.
For sure in the Big Ten. But I think at least at one point in time he did. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get on social media that much or whatever. But is it still called tweet since you?
That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah. I tweeted out, I said, man, he handing out dead legs like it was a 10-piece lemon pepper wing order.
I think that's the only way you could possibly describe it.
Yo, he dead legging cats, jump cutting. Man, PlayStation 5. He gave this one dude the dead leg. I mean, I love the dead leg. I gotta start the dead leg series, man. So I gotta get video of all the best dead legs so I can count.
We need Dead Leg Tuesdays.
Dead Leg University. That's what I'm starting, man. Dude, I'm telling you, he was giving people the work, and I think he's a smaller back, but he runs bigger. He's like strong. Obviously he's well put together.
Mm-hmm.
He's got quickness, good balance, but he's slippery too, and he's in and out of the breaks and in and out of his cuts very well. And the difference I think that he's learning is that's a lot of volume of carries in the preseason game. But they wanted to give him a lot of work, right? But then also what you saw in a lot of those, he had a couple good runs that made up for the ones where he stopped within 1 or 2 yards. And one thing that I think he learned, which is he'll adjust to it in the next game, and he'll even learn from it in practice. And I'm sure he's starting to come accustomed to it. You make one guy miss, the next guy's there. Those holes close up real quickly. But he did a really good job his first. I think he showed everybody that he should have been drafted higher. And then he validated everything that Kansas City saw and what we saw for the last year and a half here at Nebraska.
Yeah.
Or season and a half.
Fighting for that third running back spot. He was listed tied for third on
there.
the depth chart.
Oh,
They signed DeMarcado from Arizona over the offseason, along with obviously the Kenneth Walker deal.
Yeah. Well, look, they just last year I felt like Kansas City running back room, which had always been a sneaky good strength, was a weakness last year.
Mm-hmm.
They upgraded it not only with a bell cow and Walker, which lets you know the mindset of Kansas City has changed. They're going to line up, try to punch you in the face. And then obviously you have good change of pace backs as well. And then you have Emmett. And I think Otto, the kid that came.
Jay Knott.
Yeah, Jay Knott. So excuse me. I think he's going to be a practice squad guy. They really, really like him because I think Emmett in a year or two after this season can really turn into maybe, get a chance to be that number one back. And so you have Ott and all that stuff after. But I think Kansas City's run back room is pretty solid.
I hate to go to this comparison again, but what does it look like for Emmett Johnson to get to Amir Abdullah's level, where he's, can consistently on a team somewhere, maybe, bits and pieces of being the guy. Maybe it's because he's earned it. Maybe it's because of injuries. But is that what you see for Emmett? Do you think there's more in the tank? What do you think?
I think Amir's still playing.
Yeah.
So Amir is on the best plan of all time. You come in as a second-round draft choice. You up in Detroit. I don't even know if they really gave you a chance. He got banged up a little bit. You got to remember they had Javen Best. He had to retire because of concussions. Then here comes Amir. The offensive line nearly wasn't what it was or what it is now. And homeboy is still playing. And his body is still intact.
Mm-hmm.
He getting picked up to play special teams. And there ain't even no real special teams anymore. He ain't busting no wedges. They aren't really returning any kicks. Come in and be a locker room guy. I think that Emmett is going to have to, if I had to give Emmett advice, everybody's talking about what he's doing on offense. I had to learn this as well. It's actually how I made the team. Then I parlayed it into, a decent NFL career. I don't know if he's on any coverage teams. I haven't been able to watch the whole game. He needs to use those attributes that he's shown in like playing running back on special teams, and he'll play just as long as Amir.
Is special teams the dividing line between active 53-man roster and practice squad, or are practice squad guys doing special team stuff too?
It's practice squad guys aren't allowed to play in the games, but it's a difference.
But like during practice, are they still doing special team stuff?
Yeah,
or
but they're generally like look squad. But yeah, they'll be in there because you can go from practice. The funny thing is you can go from practice squad, to starting.
Do you know anything about that, Jay?
I never was on the practice squad.
Oh, just the inactive.
I was just inactive. But you can go from I went from an inactive to not only running down on kickoff. Guess what? You in the game.
What's up, Green Dot?
Yeah, well, we didn't have one. We did signals back then. And I won't say the coordinator's name. One time he got mad at me and gave me the bird. That was
Did you give it right back?
I was shocked. But the worst part is my man Corey Sears. Big shout out to Corey Sears, man. He's got this. He makes like homemade lemonade. It's all in HEB down there. It's actually really good. He's big time. It's called like Texas lemonade. Big Sears, he always kind of stood to my left, so we'd always kind of look to the sideline, and he was over there laughing. He still mess with me about it. He's like, "You remember when so gave you the finger?" I was like, "Yeah," but no, I think that the NFL is tricky. You can go from practice squad to playing, to starting to a great NFL career. Heck, Kurt Warner was on the practice squad. He obviously ended up Hall of Fame. There's guys that you can go from. I always say this, and I learned this towards the end of my career. Now, I had to really hang him up because of like my neck and stuff like that. But there was when I was contemplating coming back and thinking about how I handled when I really got my first injury at year 7, is that there's a thin line. I always say like this: there's no difference from being in here, right, where we're in nice air conditioning. Right now, Austin,
to
being outside. That's how thin the line is in the NFL. You could literally go from watching TV to being on TV, or being on TV to watching, and skipping over everything in between. That's inactive and practice squad.
You know what else you can do, Jay, is that you can go from the football field to the silver screen, like Sierra Wright did. Here's Cincinnati Bengals head coach Zach Taylor talking about former Husker Sierra Wright's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that he's stepping away from football for the time being. Here's Zach Taylor.
I don't know how to properly define it for him. He called us last night and let us know that he had an opportunity. I know it was a difficult decision for him. I think 2 things he's really passionate about were colliding, and he decided to pursue this opportunity. So he's a great kid, comes from a great university. And, we wish him the best. He was fun to be around. He really competed hard for us. It's fun watching him play. I thought he was ascending as a player, but obviously he's chosen to go a different path.
That's Bengals head coach Zach Taylor on Sia Wright stepping away to, according to Aaron Wilson, who's covering the NFL and the Texans down in Houston, being offered a lead role in a big movie that he couldn't pass up. Filming will end in late October, and he will be available to play after that, not giving up football.
No, he ain't
personally.
coming back.
That's
Aaron,
it.
He ain't done.
Made his choice.
Here's the thing about the NFL, and this is what I talk about thin line. Once you out, you out. Now you have now it's a little bit less of that harsh reality because you have the UFL, you know what I'm saying, which is legit and kind of I wouldn't say it's fully in partnership with the NFL, but obviously they have former NFL coaches and players that are down there and they've kind of leveled their way back up. But in his situation, once you're done, you're done. Now you might get in there and go a cup of tea, but I can guarantee you they have a built-in excuse. What if they call you to do an acting role? We can't really trust that you're going to be there. You done. You done. And that's just a choice you have to make. And if it's a big role, and let's face it, if he's able to parlay this role into a consistent acting career, it's going to last longer than his NFL career. And that's no knock against Sierra. And maybe that's part of the reason why he wasn't drafted or invited to the combine on that, because I felt like when I watched some of the guys at the combine, especially, and I looked at what he did over the last 2 years, especially actually from him and Emmett made their debut against USC, not this last season, but the year before. And has been able to play multiple positions and have leadership skills. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, text line, I think he ran pretty well at his pro day. So he checks out everything. I think Lincoln Riley has a lot of respect for him.
Mm-hmm.
That probably, in the NFL, looks for things they're always going to cover their what.
They look for reasons not to like you.
Well, you're just looking for legit. It's legit. Obviously, it came to fruition. It's CYA. You don't want to be the scout that overlooks that. They draft them, they draft them. Say they draft them in the 6th round. You give them a couple $100,000, and now that's down. And you could have drafted somebody else that's making noise at another team. That's how you get fired. So they're always going to CYA. Now, sometimes I think they overthink and talk themselves out of easy choices. But in this situation, I think that was it. I mean, you never close the door fully. But, yeah, I mean, the one thing about the NFL, once you out, you out.
And if you're 1 foot in, you're out.
And maybe just because he's young, he'll get another chance.
But it's different for him than, let's say Anthony Richardson, right? The things you never come back from, right? As a quarterback, tapping the helmet on the sideline. The difference between...
And he's not making as much either.
Not making as much. Mm-hmm. Different position. And also, for as good an athlete as Sierra Wright is, not quite the same as Anthony Richardson.
Right? So Anthony Richardson will get more chances.
Mm-hmm. Well, whether that's fair or not.
It's not
that's
fair.
Been the reality of the NFL.
It's not fair. And that's just the difference. I would say you get an opportunity of a lifetime. It's your job to make that opportunity last a lifetime. And it sucks because look, the hardest thing that you'll go through as a former NFL player, right? Or when the NFL retires you. And this take out Tom Brady. Take the guys that Manning, Brady, the guys that just do one.
Not the one-namers.
The one-namers. Majority of the NFL is going to be guys are going to be done playing, and you're going to see guys that are nowhere near as good as you playing. And it's not fair. They might know somebody. It's a lot of politics. They might be drafted, so they'll get an extra tryout or two, and maybe get a couple weeks to play, or they'll get on a team for 3 weeks to see if they still got it. Whereas you can't even get there. That's the hardest thing they have to do, and that's where with Sierra, it's okay, October, depending on how you went in camp and what type of shape you're in, right? If they have some depleted at corner, they might bring in because they feel like the system. But long term, they're always going to try to hang that over your head. And that's what they do. I mean, that's no different than you see. Okay, here's an example. I know Zach Thomas is in the Hall of Fame. He should have been in a long time ago. You look at production. Look at Zach Thomas, or you look at a guy that probably should be in just by stats alone and longevity, is London Fletcher. It takes 4 to 5 good years just to overcome their stature while they're killing people in the league.
Yeah.
So they always have a shelf life when you go in. It's your job to make sure that you don't rot out before they say so.
One option no longer there for Cincinnati in the defensive backfield is Cam Taylor-Britt. talking to the Indy Star. It was my play. I beat myself up so much there was no coming back from it. Taylor Britt feels like himself again. Could play an important role for Indy this year. People at Colts camp say he definitely looks like himself. His film was dreadful last year, but he looks healthy and confident again, which is great to see. So Colts have had some cornerback injuries. I mean, last year was the year from hell in that defensive backfield, and so wishing best for CTB.
He was well on his way to breaking bread. Probably lost a little focus, obviously, and that's just probably one of the things he needed to work on. And so if he can resurrect himself down in Indy with a team that's on the upswing, he's in a good situation.
We'll go to break. We'll call up Brian Munson of Husker Online, talk some Husker football recruiting next on Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Daytime highs approaching 88 this afternoon under overcast skies with a slight chance of thunderstorms. Southeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, slight chance of rain showers. Lows dip down to about 71. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Currently 78.
Building a new home can be a challenge, a lot of big choices. With our Remington homes, we have designed 15 different floor plans that appeal to a wide range of people.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com, pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, painted trim, wood floors, more stone, all options with our Remington homes. People do not want to be married to their house payment. You're able to get what you really want in a home for a great price with very limited stress. And that's what Remington homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
The Friends with Central States Hydraulic Services here in Lincoln would like to take this time to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from Central States Hydraulic Services here in Lincoln. Let's stay united and keep America safe and strong.
In every city, every town, there's a Husker fan. You show up, you stand out, no matter where the road takes you. And wherever Husker Nation goes, life doesn't slow down. That's why Emeritus makes dental and vision coverage simple. Quick quotes, affordable options, and nationwide access for fans everywhere. Choose the coverage that fits your journey. Emeritus, fulfilling life, fueled by Husker pride. Go to emeritus.com/Husker Dental for more information.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and new Sierra and Silverado trucks continue to roll in, and August is a great time to upgrade. Right now, get new GMC Sierras for under $50,000. Or get 2.9% financing for 72 months plus $1,500 bonus cash. Visit us in Louisville or anytime at koppelcars.com. Stock number G306367 with approved credit.
The Friends with Communication Systems Solutions here in Lincoln remind you that the need for blood continues daily. Unfortunately, our blood banks are extremely low. Our community and our country depend on life-saving donors like you. You are eligible to donate every 56 days, and with each donation, you save up to 3 lives. Please go online and schedule an appointment to donate blood today. Thanks to Communication Systems Solutions here in Lincoln for making this message possible. They are a shining example of why America is a strong nation.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete in Lincoln and Palmyra. Ready Mixed offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they cover the cost of CDL training. Apply with Ready Mixed Concrete today to be eligible for a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today with Ready Mixed Concrete. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket.
That's right. Welcome back into Old School. Austin Norman, Jay Foreman with you, 93.7 Ticket, ticketfm.com. We're headed to our Allo Fiber VIP line where we're joined by Brian Munson of Husker Online. Down there in the oppressive Texas heat. Any relief, Brian? Any air conditioning? Any shade? Any breeze? How are you?
No. It's getting worse. We were in a 2-day inclement weather for a heat advisory over the weekend, and I think today's high tops out at 105.
Woo. Can it be 104 or 106 to make sure Jane Daniels doesn't get mad, or does it have to be 105?
You know what? Those have been some of the greatest things ever on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. I have been just laughing hysterically about like changing the $5 bill or changing the Pentagon. I mean, it was just, I have absolutely just loved it. I got a really weird sense of humor, but that thing is just really hitting me just like right in the funny bone because I have been laughing at every single one of those.
Well, it's been come on. I mean, from all corners of the internet, people have said, you know what, this is funny. We're getting after it. I've loved them too. I've also loved your Getting to Know 1.0 series. I know you've had a bunch more conversations with guys in the 27 class who have been some of your favorites that you've been able to post over the last week since we last chatted.
You know, I think there's some really interesting takes. I thought the Corey Hadley piece, I think maybe we might have talked about it a little bit, but the Corey Hadley piece, I think there's just such a deeper dive or deeper look into like what makes him tick and what level he's kind of thinking on about like where he said, you know, I don't prepare for receivers. I don't prepare for this. I find myself playing against the offensive coordinator. And I'm like, whoa, I've never heard that before from a recruit. And he is just straight up talking about tendencies and what offenses like to do and down and distance and those kinds of things. And obviously I think the big one, you know, for everybody was the Torrey Pittman, you know, how he came out and said he's 100% locked in. He's a Cornhusker. I really liked Matt Erickson's piece that I ran yesterday on Sunday because I think that when you look at Matt Erickson, you know, he's a legacy guy. He probably could have coasted to an offer. He probably could have coasted still, you know, from being 6'8", 285 and, you know, having D1 offers. And then he could probably, like, after he committed to Nebraska, he'd be like, okay, yeah, man, everything I've done and everything I wanted is like been accomplished. But he kind of used it as a reason to kind of go back and get to work. And I think that that's like the most appreciation I have for these recruits is when they realize that, you know, their commitment, it's just a milestone. It's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal isn't to score a Division I offer. The ultimate goal now is to go win a national championship with that Division I school. And then after that, like personally, it's like to get invited to a combine, get invited, you know, get drafted into the NFL or find my way on an NFL team. I mean, there is such a completely different lens, I think. And I think that that's the part I appreciate the most. I really do. Like just kind of hearing how some of these guys tick, the differences in it. I have some other ones kind of lined up for this week. I'm going to knock out Keedy Jones tonight. And I think we'll probably talk about it here on the call as soon as I kind of tip my hand here. I have so many 2028 stories to get to too, like of recruits. Like recruiting is really heating up. We're talking about recruits being back in Lincoln, you know, here starting in a couple of weeks. A bunch of new offers out over the weekend. Guys announcing that they're going to be making it to Lincoln here shortly too. So lots of stuff, you know, starting to ramp back up again for Nebraska in recruiting.
Well, we'll ping pong back and forth between a couple of topics here, but while we're on that segue, visit list. I know we're a couple and a half weeks away from the first game, but couple night games within the first 3 weeks of the season. Brian, how big are these first 3 weeks of the non-conference going to be for Nebraska football in recruiting? Any key visitors you know already that might be here early in September?
I think the night games are critical because obviously, you gotta make the most of them. They're not every week, and you understand. I think the biggest problem is you understand the difficulties that go along with most players that can't drive to a game and would need to step onto a flight. If you had an 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock start, they're basically impossible unless you have a bye, right?
Yeah.
Like you just can't get there. So we know travel's tough. We've talked about it for years. So you have to really then make those night games like the focus for bringing in some of these players from some further away spots, some guys that you don't think you're going to have a chance to like get back on campus again later in the fall, guys that you feel like are going to be the guys that you and I are going to be talking about in January and February for junior days, guys that we're going to be talking about again in March and April to come back for spring practices and a spring game. So they're really trying to slot and set their board, as it kind of like move it through the rest of the fall. It's evolving. It's going to be getting continuously ranked and reset. And I had a chance to eyeball this guy. He's everything that he said he was. This guy fell a little short in this area, maybe not off to a great start, whatever, like those are the types of conversations that are going to be ongoing as things kind of go on and guys get moved up or moved down a coach's board. So yeah, there are a couple, like Anthony Turner is going to be coming in on September 12th. He's probably, a top 2 or 3 quarterback on Nebraska's list for the 2028 class. And I think you and I, we would agree, 2028 quarterback is kind of one of those ones where you say yeah, if you can get a guy, that's great. But if Ant comes back for another season and I'm adding Trey into the room come December and you still have Latif and Kalen, and you're going, it's a really talented room. And you're just wondering how all that stuff is going to kind of work out there. I think I'd really put more of the value or the prioritization would be on my 2029 guy. I think you've really got to knock it out of the park with your 2029 get.
And that's the guy you wrote about with an incredible name, right? Lord Haru, a guy that's pretty high on the list.
Absolutely. Lord Malik Haru, he had an incredible, his freshman season. He's a 2029, so technically he's going to be a sophomore this fall. My son's a 2028, so I'm doing the math off of him. So yeah, he was a freshman, and I think he threw for over 3,000 yards and 40 touchdowns.
Ooh. Pretty
incredible, and you got him coming in early on in the season. But yeah, those first couple weekends, they're still being slotted to it. You got Tatum Rummel coming in. He's a guy over there in Algona, Iowa, which, linebacker, obviously a name that everybody should kind of know in the area. So that's, he's got some other kind of lower level interest. And like I said, Anthony Turner is going to be in there. And then the Indiana game is going to be a big weekend, the Washington game, the blackout. So the blackout game is really the game that all the commits are talking about. Every one of the commitments are like, I'm going to be there for that. So I think you would kind of circle that as being the massive game later on down the line in October, where you start seeing all those guys start coming back a little bit more. The guys that are a little bit further away, the Georgia guys in particular, they'll be in there for that Washington game for sure.
Brian J. Foreman, I haven't talked to you in a while, but I wanted to ask.
What's up?
Not much, man. I know recruiting is 24/7, 365, and obviously it seems like the recruitment of Ahmad Hudson obviously is kind of always teeter-totter, and to LSU, Nebraska, kind of almost seems like the beginning. It depends on the week. I want to ask you, what's his status, and when do you think there'll be a breaking point, or will this be a December signing day kind of nobody knows until he signs the fax or sends in the DocuSign?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, he's going to be a story that I could probably write a story about him every single week, and I could probably overly saturate the market, with those stories. I'm kind of leaving it up to the national guys just for that very reason. I don't want people getting sick about him because there really aren't any other 2027 targets to talk about. The class is done. It's the way it sits currently. I think if Nebraska signed all those guys tomorrow and Hudson ended up staying in Baton Rouge, I don't think, a lot of people would be too disappointed. I think that where the emphasis was the offensive line and what they had done and, getting that quarterback, obviously, and running back, I think everybody would be really happy about it. But adding a dynamic playmaker, a two-sport playmaker like Hudson, would really, I think, put this massive cherry on top of the sundae. I think Hudson is really thinking about stuff. I think that the interest from LSU, particularly on the basketball side, has kind of died down. I know that the interest from Nebraska is going to have to be there. It's going to be a constant for him because they need him to feel the most love coming from the folks in Lincoln. They have a lot to get around. They have a lot to get around because his dad's a legacy guy at LSU. So there's definitely some things there that are gonna stay very relevant, and it's gonna be moving at all times. I think the big thing that I would look for this fall, Jay, is if Nebraska cannot find a way to get him on campus at least once, I would hope for multiple times. I think you can pretty much just go ahead and take it to the bank. That it's going to be very difficult, I think, to flip him again. I think that when he is in Lincoln and he's around guys like Trey and he's got a guy like Kay Ellis hanging out with him, I think he feels incredibly at home. And I think when he has his family there, particularly his little brother, he can really see a future. Because I mean, the thing about Hudson is that this is going to be a family decision. It's going to be it would not surprise me at all. Like if everybody just decides to uproot and head to Lincoln, if that's the decision that Ahmad's going to make. Like I could see that absolutely happening. That's a very, very, very tight family. So I think it's going to be a continual kind of like as the wind kind of is blowing, like you had mentioned. And I don't know how much I would really like listen to it. I think where Nebraska sits at is actually in a really good spot. And I know that means that he's still committed to LSU at the moment, but I don't think Nebraska would want him to flip in September or October. Because if you do that and you give any time to Lane Kiffin, you're in trouble. Because everybody in Louisiana wants to keep every kid that has an LSU offer home. And they will hear it from everyone, from the gas station attendant, from their pastor to the people in their schools. They will hear it from everyone about staying home. And I think Nebraska wants to limit that amount of time as much as they possibly can, where all the other pressure would be for him to kind of flip back to LSU.
Is Hudson the homebody that wants to stay home and his family's happy with that? Or is he a kid that from what you've heard, wants to maybe spread his wings and the family's trying to pull him back in the state?
No, I think the family wants to do what's best. And I think that they're going through a very complicated set of, just that criteria of figuring out what the best things are for Ahmad to do, what the best things are for the family to do. Like I said, I think the basis is here that it's not just a player or recruit decision. I think it's a family decision. I think that's the part there. I mean, I think ultimately, Ahmad's going to go where he feels like it's the best decision for him in both sports. I think Nebraska has dazzled him when it comes to the attention, when it comes to how they plan to use him on the football field, when it comes to the attention he's been getting from the basketball program. I think all of that is really, sliding a lot of attention and a lot of people thinking on his side about thinking about what it would be like to go to Nebraska. That being said, obviously it's a very comfortable choice. They know a lot about LSU. It's very close to home. So that's the complexity, I think, in the decision. It's not just a recruit decision; it's a family decision.
Brian Munson of Husker Online, our guest, got more of those get to know 1.0 previews coming 3 and out as always on Husker Online. I do want to throw this one at you, Brian. It's a hypothetical, and I know you cover a lot of football recruiting. Your colleague Robin Washett's been on the basketball side of things, especially with Dawson Batty, big guy in the 2027 class. And just to your knowledge, maybe it's more opinion, which class, right? The 2-man class for Husker basketball, if they're able to land Dawson Batty, or the 27 class in its entirety for Husker football, if they're able to keep the guys committed, which can be a bigger deal for their respective program? Is it, the lightning rod like Batty that, Nebraska's really built to a second crack at, Bryce McGowan's 5-star type of prospect, or just sheer numbers and the fact that Trey Taylor's the headliner pull that to football in terms of meaningfulness and relevance?
Oh, I'd love to plead the fifth, but in respect to Jaden Daniels, I think that's such a good question. I mean, I'm looking forward to Batty potentially becoming a Husker because he's at St. Mark's School here in Dallas.
Yeah.
And I would look forward to going out there. I mean, it's unlike any high school I've ever seen before. It's like a small college. It's actually really remarkable. We played against them a lot in playing lacrosse with my oldest son growing up. The relationship, though, I mean, to the programs, I'm gonna still have to say it's football, and I think it's a bit of a quantity over quality at that point. Just because I think that you got a guy like Trey that I think that squares off with Batty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like the overall importance. I think Trey can take Nebraska not up just one notch. I think that he can take him up several notches. I think a guy like Jay was probably there nodding too, thinking about how important it is to have the right guy there as your signal caller. And if you don't have the right guy as your signal caller, it's very difficult. There's a disjointedness, in the locker room, on the field, during practices, during a game. I think Trey could be an absolute kind of fusion kind of guy that can bring together the entire chemistry of the team. So in that regard alone, I think Trey gives me and pushes me over to the edge on over to the football side, and that then you start to consider, the Torrey Pittmans, the Khalil Taylors, the Jordan Agbonomas, all the other offensive linemen that were in there, and like a guy like Corey Hadley, who I think he's underrated. I think he's totally underappreciated when it comes to the overall class, the two tall cornerbacks. I'm going to give and be partial towards and biased towards the football class because I feel like Trey Taylor can be a generational type of guy to play quarterback at Nebraska.
The other thing that I think helps the case for football is that they have to stay in school 3 years. Whereas if Batty, is as good as advertised, he's a one and done. But I do think that that's some of the argument for basketball is, hey, this guy can come in from day one, hit the ground running, be kind of that missing piece, that skeleton key X factor, however it is you want to describe it. And maybe that starts the ball rolling to more. But it's just a completely different sort of thing. I just didn't know how you would think through that.
Yeah, I think Fred's done a great job, dipping into the portal, getting the right kind of guys. I tell you what, basketball with the smaller roster, you've really got to find the right guys culture-wise. Culture fit is such a big deal. I mean, it's not like it's not a big deal for football, but I mean, you have that smaller number of people in the locker room and on the bench. Culture is a big, big deal when it comes to basketball. And I think that he's done such a tremendous job going and getting the right guys through the portal when it comes to that too. So if you missed on Batty, which hopefully he doesn't, you can maybe potentially make up for some of that again, come around next year.
There you go. It's Brian Munson of Husker Online with us on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Brian, appreciate all your insight. Appreciate your work. We'll direct people to Husker Online to keep reading your stuff. Thanks as always, my friend. Have a good week.
Great stuff, guys. Talk to you soon.
There he goes, Brian Munson again from Husker Online with us on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Allo Fiber is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We'll be back, put a bow on hour 2 of the show right after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
The friends at the Nebraska Animal Medical Center here in Lincoln would like to take this time out to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from Nebraska Animal Medical Center in Lincoln. For all your pet's needs, visit NAMCvet.com.
Where there's smoke, there's flavor, and there's plenty of that at the Smokehouse at Super Saver in Russ's Market. Award-winning Old World recipes made in Lincoln since 1984 with many flavors and smoked sausage and brats to choose from. The Smokehouse has something special for every season: brats and sausage for the grill, beef sticks and beef jerky for snacking, and smoked salmon, smoked turkey, and smoked hams for your holiday feast. Stop by the Smokehouse at Super Saver in Russ's Market today to fulfill your search for real flavor.
The friends at the Nebraska Animal Medical Center here in Lincoln would like to take this time out to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from Nebraska Animal Medical Center in Lincoln. For all your pets' needs, visit NAMCvet.com.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
Football Saturdays are back, and the Lincoln Children's Museum has a game plan for your youngest fans. Game day playdates give kids ages 5 to 12 their own unforgettable game day, while you enjoy the action inside the stadium. Drop them off 90 minutes before kickoff and pick them up 1 hour after the game. New this year, purchase a season pass. Buy 4 sessions and receive your 5th free using code FOOTBALL. Space is limited and advanced registration is required. Visit LincolnChildren'sMuseum.org and reserve your spot today.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Daytime highs approaching 88 this afternoon under overcast skies with a slight chance of thunderstorms. Southeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, slight chance of rain showers, lows dip down to about 71. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Currently 78.
Husker fans know a strong game plan makes all the difference, no matter where they cheer from. The dedication fans bring every season is the same dedication that builds long-term financial success. That's why Emeritus connects fans across the country with financial professionals who can help them plan, prepare, and move toward their goals. As a proud partner of Husker Athletics, Emeritus supports fans in every corner of the country because great fans deserve a great future. Emeritus, fulfilling life, fueled by Husker pride. Go to emeritus.com/HuskerWealth for more information.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and new Sierra and Silverado trucks continue to roll in, and August is a great time to upgrade. Right now, get new GMC Sierras for under $50,000 or get 2.9% financing for 72 months plus $1,500 bonus cash. Visit us in Louisville or anytime at koppelcars.com. Stock number G306367 with approved credit.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back in as we wrap up hour 2 of Old School. Austin Norman, Jay Foreman with you. Big thanks to Brian Munson for giving us some time talking all things Husker football recruiting. Got your chance to beat the lunch rush with our friends from Buffalo Wings and Rings. First texter in with the correct answer to this question will get $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Von Miller, who we'll talk about here in just a moment, is tied with one NFL legend for either 9th since 1982 or 13th since 1960 in terms of career sacks. Who is the player that Von Miller is tied with in terms of career sacks? First person in with the correct spelling of the name on the text line 402-464-5685 gets $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Team number 5 for Von Miller, Jay, closer to the end of his career than the beginning. Is there still a productive player for Von Miller down in Dallas?
Oh, for sure. Because he had 9.5 sacks last year for the Commanders. Quiet as kept. It's amazing that it's taken this long for him to get signed. And it's not, I get it that he's a little bit older, but you're always looking for premium pass rushers and a guy that's willing to come in and teach some of your young guys. They just drafted the Cowboys, that is, and you have Rashard Gary that's coming off an injury from, even though he played last year, from Green Bay. So, he's kind of like, we're waiting to see, and it's boom or bust for him.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted the OLB kind of edge from Central Florida, who's a great athlete, a lot of talent, but very, very raw. Well, you bring in Von Miller, that's a legit pass rusher. You can get the most bang for your buck. And so when you're thinking about it, I thought that he would be tailor-made for a team like Dallas because, you can have him in the building. Everywhere he's gone, they say he's a great team guy. Was obviously a really good team guy there with the Commanders. If you saw the tweet from Ed Werder, and their head coach had nothing but great things to say about him. But now he's in Dallas. He's from the Dallas area, or at least from Texas, and he can provide, exactly, what you need from a player like this at this point in time in camp. Veteran leadership, veteran production. He'll be able to close games.
Mm-hmm.
That was the plan when he originally went to Buffalo. Now, 1 year he was able to do it. The first year he was injured. 1 year he was able to do it. The next year was kind of 50-50. And then he's been bouncing around from there. But I think it's a big pickup for this is the first offseason for the Cowboys. They've actually done like good, legit, like football business.
Mm-hmm.
It was catastrophic last year. This year they've signed Williams to extension.
Mm-hmm.
They've drafted Downs. They got Overshawn back he's healthy, so that's like almost like another player.
Yeah.
They have a new defensive coordinator that actually fits exactly what the offense needs. They've kind of remedied their offensive identity. And they've drafted well, and they look like a pretty good team, in the preseason. And then you do this with Von Miller. It's like, Dallas is actually trying to win.
They're serious, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been offseason hype, but not as much. So it's like the opposite.
Speaking of Dallas, the player that Von Miller is tied with in terms of career sacks was a longtime Dallas Cowboy. Did not finish his career there. Any guesses?
Oh, it's DeMarcus Ware.
It is DeMarcus Ware.
138
138 and a half sacks.
Yesterday.
Oh, there you go.
I was just 2 days ago. Oh, phenomenal player and a phenomenal dude too. I've only met him once, but a really good dude. Came from Troy. Had him and O.C. Umenyiora, who I played with the Giants. Those two were wrecking havoc down there, like in the Sun Belt or whatever their conference was. And then obviously DeMarcus Ware, it was kind of like a project. Remember Bill Parcells picked? Now, granted, he was really productive in college.
First round, 11th overall,
but hadn't played in big time, competition. But obviously he took it to the whole next level, and then obviously was able to go to Denver and do some great things as well.
Hunter, you were in first with the correct answer of DeMarcus Ware. We'll get your name down on $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Stop by the station in the next 30 days to pick up your prize. We'll go ahead and go to break. Full hour 3 of Old School comes your way next. 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Football Saturdays are back, and the Lincoln Children's Museum has a game plan for your youngest fans. Game day playdates give kids ages 5 to 12 their own unforgettable game day, while you enjoy the action inside the stadium. Drop them off 90 minutes before kickoff and pick them up 1 hour after the game. New this year, purchase a season pass, buy 4 sessions, and receive your 5th free using code FOOTBALL. Space is limited and advanced registration is required. Visit LincolnChildren'sMuseum.org and reserve your spot today.
Talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Daytime highs approaching 88 this afternoon under overcast skies with a slight chance of thunderstorms. Southeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, slight chance of rain showers. Lows dip down to about 71. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals. 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Currently 78.
Let me share something to make life just a little easier. It's just one word, Bryant. If we need service on our furnace or AC, we call Bryant. Same thing goes for an electrical issue. If I have a problem with my faucet, a toilet, a drain, or a water heater, I don't need to know how to fix something. I just need to know who to call. And at our house, it's Bryant.
Bryant's Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Just one call. 467-1111. Remember, we do whatever it takes.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and new Sierra and Silverado trucks continue to roll in, and August is a great time to upgrade. Right now, get new GMC Sierras for under $50,000. Or get 2.9% financing for 72 months plus $1,500 bonus cash. Visit us in Louisville or anytime at koppelcars.com. Stock number G306367 with approved credit.
Husker fans know a strong game plan makes all the difference, no matter where they cheer from. The dedication fans bring every season is the same dedication that builds long-term financial success. That's why Emeritus connects fans across the country with financial professionals who can help them plan, prepare, and move toward their goals. As a proud partner of Husker Athletics, Emeritus supports fans in every corner of the country because great fans deserve a great future. Emeritus, fulfilling life, fueled by Husker pride. Go to emeritus.com/HuskerWealth for more information.
Visit any part of Southeast Nebraska, and you've seen the impact of an SCC grad. At Southeast, we're redefining the community college experience. You'll do more than build a career. You'll build the place you call home. At SCC, Grant had an expert who did more to build them up, to focus their drive, to shape their resolve. Southeast Community College. Let's do more.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, owner of A1 Automotive. I want to personally thank you, our customers, for trusting us with your vehicle repair needs. Your support allows us to do what we love, serving people through quality automotive repair. If you're looking for a repair shop that values relationships as much as repairs, we'd love the opportunity to earn your trust. We have 2 locations here in Lincoln, 1117 L Street, 5110 State Hill Drive, and our newest location in Seward, Nebraska, 408 Main Street. Come see us. Visit us online at a1autolincoln.com.
Friends with MedElite Urgent Care in Lincoln remind you that the need for blood continues daily. Unfortunately, our blood banks are extremely low. Our community and our country depend on life-saving donors like you. You are eligible to donate every 56 days, and with each donation, you save up to 3 lives. Please go online and schedule an appointment to donate blood today. Thanks to MedElite Urgent Care in Lincoln for making this message possible. ER skills without the ER bills. Check them out today.
Hey, Jake, you know what I love almost as much as the Big Red?
Big scores on the field?
Good guess, but nope.
Big spikes on the court?
Love those too, but I'm thinking food. Like those big, budget-friendly portions you find at Buzzard Billy's.
Now you're talking. I love Buzzard Billy's. I love the shrimp po' boys and the blackened chicken.
You almost always find me enjoying gumbo.
Big plays, big scores, big wins, Big Red. Yep, love them all, especially
those big portions that are budget-friendly. Only at Buzzard Billy's, A-Market.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
Where there's smoke, there's flavor, and there's plenty of that at the Smokehouse at Super Saver in Russ's Market. Award-winning, old world recipes made in Lincoln since 1984 with many flavors and smoked sausage and brats to choose from. The Smokehouse has something special for every season. Brats and sausage for the grill, beef sticks and beef jerky for snacking, and smoked salmon, smoked turkey, and smoked hams for your holiday feast. Stop by the Smokehouse at Super Saver in Russ's Market today to fulfill your search for real flavor.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yes, indeed. Welcome into hour 3 of the show. Austin Orman here, Jay Foreman on his way out. So we turn the reins over to Jake Bachman. Bach, welcome in to Old School. How much Kool-Aid did you drink this weekend after Nebraska football's first scrimmage?
Well, of course, we had the BTN thing going on, too. So, yeah, I watched the whole thing, getting excited for it. You know, one way, whatever you feel about the season, I know we all have our doubts. We're worried to get our heart broken again. What's better than Husker football coming up in a few weeks? I mean, I get excited for it every year.
As you should, right? We're from here. We get it. We're about it. Graham Tyre, also from the greater Midwest area, celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. Never excited to have to take your car in there. You're excited with how it comes out when they're done fixing it, though. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs, too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tyre for service you can count on. Graham Tyre getting you to the places that matter most. All right, 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of the show. Yes, Eric, part-time Jay Foreman. He is out of here, right? You can give him crap tomorrow for it. Bach, I did want to look at this article from USA Today that's using some numbers from 2024. They're a little bit old, but there's a study that comes out, or it's been coming out essentially every 3 years since 2018. Takes a while to compile that data, so the numbers are backdated, but the information is as recent as they can get. Anyways, high school football participation. And we'll look at Nebraska specifically as a part of this, certainly, but just big picture numbers, over 1 million kids playing high school football across about 14,000 schools in all 50 states. Out of the 50 states, since 2000 and let's say between 2021 and 2024, out of the 50 states, how many of those states do you think saw an increase in participation in high school football?
Well, I saw the Nebraska number, so that's the one I did see. So I'm assuming that that's a bit of a trend. So an increase, let's say, let's go with 20%. Let's go 10 states.
32 states have had an increase.
So that's much better than the Nebraska number.
Than you would have thought, certainly. Yeah. Right. I mean, with all the conversation, football this, football that, concussions, injury is expensive, certainly. I was shocked to see that 32 had seen an improvement. Now, it's, in some cases, you have 500 kids out, and you get to 750. That's an improvement. That's a notable improvement. It's also 250 more kids. What shocked me, I mean, the Texas numbers were ones that the article points out. 174,000 high school football players in Texas, 91,000 in California. Then you get to number 3, Ohio, which is shy of 40,000, and that's the third largest. But how about this? Texas and California are still adding players. Texas added almost 33,000 kids over 3 years. California added nearly 12,000. How about this? Mississippi, 28,000 participants total. Added 11,500 of those since 2008.
Big number, big percentage.
A huge jump.
See, it's interesting too because I thought that might be the case. That's why I saw the Nebraska number, which was interesting. And I'm sure we'll dive into it for a second. But I kind of thought, okay, that probably is a trend then across states. But then it also counters the fact that now you can make life-changing money by making it to college ball. So, it's still very, very unlikely, right? The 1% or whatever that make it to become Division I athletes. But now that the opportunity is there, and especially I can think I can't imagine as a parent not seeing if your son can fling the football around. If you can become a quarterback at the D1 level, I mean, you are changing, again, maybe even depending on what you do with your wealth and how you manage it. But, you have the opportunity to really change some things there. So that time period that you're kind of mentioning too, that's kind of the rise up of NIL and the transfer portal and all that sort of stuff, but the opportunity to make money at the college level. So, it might have always been there a little bit in shady corners, but now it's out there and open and everybody can see it. And so I this is interesting because I came into this segment thinking it was going to be a drop, but wondering how that was going to kind of counteract that. That makes a little bit more sense to me.
We're getting close to the Nebraska numbers, but just going through some of the interesting highlights. Across the country between 2018 and 2021, obviously COVID hits in there. 32,000 kids quit playing football. But since between 2021 and 2024, nationally, they got those numbers back and more. So it's kind of a blip, I think, for COVID, which is interesting to see that for everyone that gave it up, more people actually came back to it. Now we get to the losses. Michigan and Illinois shouted out as the biggest losses since 2008. A net of over 8,000 total players. That's just the biggest raw number. 25% of the player body for Michigan and 23% for Illinois. Michigan, not exactly a football hotbed, but certainly talent. Illinois, kind of basketball, baseball sort of hybrid. But then, Bach, we get to the Nebraska numbers. And this is the change from 2008 through 2024. So you have a 15-year window there. The Nebraska numbers, 2008, 12,800 kids playing. 2024 numbers, 8,600 playing. Essentially 1 in 3 high school football players in the state of Nebraska, poof, gone. You're down 32.5%.
That is a big number. That is, and it is interesting. I've talked to some of the local high school coaches or assistant coaches too, and some saying in at certain schools it is tough. You got to like recruit the hallways and try to get guys to go out. But it is really interesting that that's not a national number. Though some of those numbers do kind of Midwest team or when Midwest states it's colder out. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to kind of figure out the correlation here, but. Yeah, that's a big drop off, and again, maybe not as surprising considering what I've heard from some folks, but I don't know what would be driving that. Like, what are they going to? Again, you can go to like the what everybody. I mean, there's more options on your phone and all that sort of stuff that you can do here. But why is it hitting Nebraska more so than other places? That's interesting.
The other states that had drops similar to Nebraska's size. So Montana lost 33%, down from 5,300 to 3,500, again, over the same 15-year window. And then in terms of states that have lost that many, Vermont lost 42% of its football playing population, down from 939 to 545. So the numbers aren't quite the same. The percentage is certainly drastic, but Nebraska is one of the biggest losers in terms of the decrease in participation in high school. And I think you're onto something, the day and age, right? That's part of it. I would throw potentially specialization in there. This was just a football only study. So we didn't get the numbers on, are more kids going to go run cross country? Soccer, I know it's a spring sport in Nebraska. Are they specializing in basketball? That sort of thing, baseball, fall ball, whatever. I would throw 2 other things at you for consideration. Number 1 is the state of Class A football at the biggest high schools, where it feels like power's been kind of consolidated among a handful of schools over maybe not quite the last 15 years, but the last 10 years, give or take, the last 7 years. I mean, I know certainly, your Bensons, your Bryan, schools like that, it's been hard to get football together because what chance do these kids feel like they have? Not that that's an excuse, not that that's a reason, but I think it's real, right? When you see, Gretna have a moment, you see Westside have its moment, Bell West have a moment, now Millard South. It just seems like, kind of like we talked about in college football, are the best getting better? Are the rich getting richer? Is it because these, quote unquote, smaller Class A schools are seeing a decline? Is it because co-ops are going away down to the 6-man level, the 8-man level? Is it just, hey, you're shaving some off in the Class B level, some of the C1, C2, and it's just a shave across the board? It didn't get broken down. That would be the first thing that I would throw out there as a potential reason, is the best are just getting better. And so because of that, maybe there's less of a competitive element, at least in the minds of kids as they're coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly, if you're looking at it for the top, I wonder, and everybody wants to play and wants to win. But I just wonder too, like for each individual kid, like is winning state, is that a determining factor? I mean, again, you certainly want to feel like you have a shot, but if you love the game, you love the game, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I do think that could, certainly it is a problem that we're kind of dealing with in high school football here in Nebraska, if you want to call it that. I mean, the others will look at it and say, hey, Nebraska's got a team or two that can compete nationally, and maybe that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, I think that's one consideration.
The other consideration, and I threw this on the screen on the graphic for those of you watching on our social media streams or on Allo as well. 2008. Interesting year, right off the tail end of Bill Callahan. 2024, second year Matt Rule. Again, these are just anecdotal. Does Husker football success or lack thereof have an influence? I don't know when these numbers went down. I don't know if it's been a steady decrease or precipitous drop. But, Bach, I do wonder, even as football continues to grow culturally and grow across America, if there isn't some aspect of, well, Nebraska football's been fine to middling to worse, and kids don't dream of putting the N on their helmet. The Memorial Stadium and being a Husker, not just a Husker, but specifically a Husker football player, is losing some of the prestige, some of the allure, because of the success or lack thereof from Nebraska football.
I do. I mean, I think that was that's kind of the. I did start to kind of think about that too. Is how much would Nebraska like their actual team? We always say there's not a pro team, right? That's the team the Huskers, fans grow up and want to play for the Huskers. But yeah, I mean, I would say that would be a consideration again when you kind of compare a lot of these other things and try to think why Nebraska and really try to dig in. We wonder. I was telling you before the show. Before jumping on here is 1 month from today will be 10 years since Nebraska beat a top 25 opponent.
Gosh.
So you think about the peaks and valleys. There hasn't been a whole lot of highs for kids to say, wow, I fell in love with my local team accomplishing something crazy. Those core memories, those excitable moments. And again, it can, with the different ranges of things going on here. But I mean, you went years and years without a bowl appearance, right? And I heard Harrison and Jason Peter talking about the other day is like, well, when, how much is this going to affect kind of the younger, season ticket holders down the line and the younger group that come up and watch the Huskers and don't know what it's like to have a top team. And again, I remember when that was a concern in 2013 when I started here. I mean, we'd have conversations about that and be like, can you believe it? These kids were 4 years old last time Nebraska won a national championship. Now, the kids are like 2000s, born in 2006 and 7 or something. So they haven't seen Nebraska win, even in the good years, lose less than 4 games, the best years. They lost 4 games and we're not at the top, as far as watching ESPN, and I know SportsCenter's not a thing anymore, but, highlights and that sort of stuff. So I do think that probably does play a big factor in, I don't know down the line, maybe, we say the motivation to make money could be one thing. The fact that there's not going to be walk-ons moving forward, right? That could be another thing that, kind of maybe counteracts that, because now the dream to play with the Husker on the side of your helmet is not just I'll be one of the best in the state and I'll likely get at least a look or an opportunity. It's you're competing with the country to get a scholarship. I mean, that's the only route. So it's going to be a lot more difficult. So, I'm interested in that, but no, I do think that that probably has to play something. And maybe it's just, because when I was growing up, again, it was, I knew what it was like to have a top 5 team. And many of us did. I always say we felt like when the era that I was born in, that was a birthright to win at least 9 games, certainly, but more often than not, compete for national championships and just live in the top 5. So you'd look around and
even the top 25.
Right. But even before, they were. I remember, a friend of mine was trying to poke fun at Nebraska basketball when I was a kid, and he wasn't as into sports as I would. And Nebraska was like a top 5 team all the time in football. And he said in basketball, he's like, they suck. They're not even in the top 25, are they? And I was like, well, no, but that's not necessarily the measurement of whether you suck or not.
Right.
But that's just that. But it was so born and bred into people for the better part. Like when you had Devaney Osborne, I mean, you're talking about pretty much through Solage 4 decades of people just again being born into the elite class of college football, looking up to those guys and understanding what it would mean to wear the end. So yeah, I mean, I the more I think about it, the more that probably factors in.
And I'm not trying to pile on Nebraska. It's not their fault that there's less participation, right? It's a personal choice. It's not really on Nebraska. But it's one thing to go to Memorial Stadium and have fun. It's another thing to go and be excited. It's yet another to be inspired. I have to be. I really want to be here. There's nothing else I want to do. I need to be a Husker football player. There's nothing more that I want to be than that. And I'm sure there's still kids like that out there. But these numbers would tell you there's got to be fewer of them. And sure, there's always going to be, some attrition right now with travel being easier and more affordable than it's ever been, in really any point in college. Again, I know it's expensive, but relative to it's easier to get anywhere, across the country to play football is what I'm trying to say. The state, I would argue, is getting more talented. So you're going to have more eyes in on the outside. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does up the pressure. It does up the ante and the onus on Nebraska to make sure there is good high school talent, not Nebraska in general. Make sure that the pipeline of good talent continues, that there are, yes, better top end players, but then that also, I think Bach would have to naturally expand into the depth as well, right? I would think that, hey, if there are more top players in the state, if there are, more guys that are competing at quote unquote national level, whether it's D1, FCS, whatever it is, that would then have some compounding effects down the line of depth. Like, the second tier Nebraska products used to be the first tier. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's not. It's not on Nebraska football. What concern is it of theirs to have a healthy, Nebraska NSAA, whatever high school, football product? But it does down the line kind of trickle up to Nebraska. So it's not their problem to solve it. But I do think that it is, Nebraska's issue down the line, even with the walk-on program going away, as we know and love it. Not every kid that goes to Nebraska is a walk-on kid, right? There are plenty of scholarship kids there as well. And so even if it's not Nebraska football's issue to solve football in the state of Nebraska, it will have effects on Nebraska football, whether it likes it or not.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again too, the more you just kind of think about it and why Nebraska took such pride in their college football program too is, because it did bleed into the high schools. I mean, for so many years, many of the top high schools ran the option for a chance for their kids to make it and play for the University of Nebraska. And, we see little, flips of the, a couple clips of the option coming out of practice today. And it always brings up the conversation of, well, maybe they could do that, this, that. But then you kind of start to think, well, again, part of what made it successful is the high schools would adopt it. Would high schools these days do that if you went through that? But again, that's just a very big example of like, it was the college football team, but it bled on down. I mean, it was a direct correlation with much of the high school system. And so, again, I think you're spot on there where like, I do think there's still Husker fans. I do wonder, as opposed to when we were going to school or, further back, what the makeup is of like football fans in general. And then the ones that bleed for the Huskers, right? Where again, when I was growing up, it was 90% of the football fans love the Huskers. And, there's always one or two guys. I would imagine now, if you fall in love with the game, you might pick another team. I mean, it's like college basketball was for when I was growing up, to be honest with you. Yeah, there you are with the Duke fan.
Hi.
It's me. So it happened. I mean, that's kind of what it was, is you follow Nebraska, but you pick a team that you want to actually follow that has a chance to win a championship. And I'm sure the same thing might have happened here in football. But the biggest thing to what you're saying too is like, okay, do you like the game? That sort of stuff. Sure. But are you inspired by it, right? Does it kind of move you to that next, feeling within you to say, hey, I want to do that. That's my goal. That's my biggest thing I'm going to work toward, because obviously you're not going to make it if that's not, 100% in.
Oh, for sure. Lots more to get to on this. We'll get to our Starter Human Jewelers text line here. 2224 says, I can't help but think it has a lot to do with how much time both parents are spending at work these days. As a parent of a 10 and a 7-year-old, I know how much time they have to spend at daycare or after school so we can work. Just think, when was the last time you saw a group of kids playing backyard football or pickup basketball? I think that's fair. I think there's an argument to be made. I'll take it one step further, though, Bach. Again, I didn't grow up in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s. And okay, I grew up for a year and a half in the 90s, right? Being born in June of 98. But I wonder, was it about playing pickup? Was it about camaraderie? Or how often were kids in Nebraska, not just, shooting the jumper and yelling Kobe all the time, right? Did they want to be Turner Gill? Was there a fight over who gets to be quarterback? They want to be Turner. Who wants to be Mike Rozier, right? And, practice those moves. Who wants to be Taggy? Who wants to be, Rich Glover, Larry Jacobson, Jerry Murtaugh, et cetera? Who wants to be Tommy Frazier? Who wants to be Amon Green, et cetera, down the line? Who are you saying if you're a kid growing up for Nebraska football the last decade? Like, if you're not Amir Abdullah, are you Stanley Morgan Jr.? Did you want to be Wandale Robinson? Like, who do you want to be? Again, I don't know if that's what was being said, but I think that's part of it for a kid too, is here's the star. Here's the guy on the pedestal that I want to aspire to be. I want to pretend to be this. It's a big honor, to be the quarterback, this pickup game and make a play like Tommy did, make a play like Turner did, et cetera, et cetera. Again, part of it's the day and age. There's more exposure to more players across the country for you to, quote unquote, pretend to be. But I have a hard time believing that there are many kids across Nebraska pretending to be Nebraska players.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. It's funny you say that because I remember my, my neighborhood and playing that, and brings back memories of, pretending to be Eric Crouch. One of us would pretend to be Bobby Newcomb when they had their kind of battle of who was going to be the quarterback there. So we had our favorites, and you'd pick along. But no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are the people that you looked up to, and you could follow. Into the NFL draft, again, great Grant and Jason being top 15 picks. It's like, Amon Green. I remember following him from the Seahawks and just, all the excitement. And, but yeah, that's absolutely a thing. Again, I also pretend to be Kerry Cohorn. So I was one of the few that was like,
my man
was definitely still in basketball, could still pick a Nebraska player. But, yeah, I mean, I imagine that's what I was kind of interested in Fan Day, and I didn't go. I don't know who got the biggest lines, but it just kind of made me think to, and hopefully again, it don't sound like piling too much on Nebraska, because at some point you hope that this changes and you can kind of get back to it. But I was wondering at Fan Day, like, who would have the biggest line, and then you kind of go to nowadays the connectivity, even if it is like, because I would assume Calandry would have the biggest line, but. Nobody's, I would say,
but he's new here.
Yeah, I would say like 90% of the people in the line probably never watched him take a snap. So it's just there's a lot of differences going on there. But again, it is when you compare Nebraska to the rest of the state, it can't just be this, to the point. I mean, I'm sure that part of it is daycare and phones and other options and all that sort of stuff. But it's not happening everywhere. So why is it happening in Nebraska?
Speaking of college football coming back here soon, and that means our friends at the Lincoln Children's Museum are offering their game day playdates once again this year. Football Saturdays are exciting for everyone, but if not everyone in your group is headed to the game, or you've got younger fans who might not make it through 4 quarters, the Lincoln Children's Museum has a fun game day experience designed just for them. Game day playdates happen every home football game except for the Halloween game against Washington on the 31st. So every other home football game, children can be dropped off 90 minutes before kickoff, picked up 60 minutes after the game ends. New this season, you can buy 4 game day playdates at one time and receive the 5th free if you use promo code football. Space is limited. Advanced registration required. You can register at lincolnchildrensmuseum.org. I know that was an incredible opportunity our friends at the Children's Museum offered last year. During these game day playdates, kids get access to all 3 levels of the museum for games that are overlapping, whether it's an early kick or a late kick with lunch or dinner. You can either add on a meal for a little additional cost, or you can bring a lunch from home. There are science, technology, engineering, math, STEM activities to encourage building and critical thinking, as well as last year they had some football-themed activities and arts and crafts as well for those creative minds. So big thanks to our friends at the Lincoln Children's Museum. Again, lincolnchildrensmuseum.org. Register in advance for game day playdates. Buy 4 and get your 5th free. Use promo code football. We'll keep this conversation rolling as we return to Old School. He's Bach. I'm Austin. Come back with us.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, Jake, you know what I love almost as much as the Big Red?
Big scores on the field?
Good guess, but nope.
Big spikes on the court?
Love those too, but I'm thinking food. Like those big, budget-friendly portions you find at Buzzard Billy's.
Now you're talking. I love Buzzard Billy's. I love the shrimp po' boys and the blackened chicken.
You almost always find me enjoying gumbo.
Big plays, big scores, big wins, Big Red. Yep, love them all, especially
those big portions that are budget-friendly. Only at Buzzard Billy's, A-Market.
Building a new home can be a challenge. A lot of big choices. With our Remington homes, we have designed 15 different floor plans that appeal to a wide range of people.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, talking about Remington Homes, which makes the home building process easier.
People really enjoy being able to go to our website, which is remingtonlincoln.com, pick a plan, pick a price point, go through and build it yourself. You have a lot of options, whether you want granite, painted trim, wood floors, more stone, all options with our Remington homes. People do not want to be married to their house payment. You're able to get what you really want in a home for a great price with very limited stress. And that's what Remington homes are all about.
Home building is easier with a Remington home from Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at remingtonlincoln.com. remingtonlincoln.com.
Visit any part of Southeast Nebraska, and you've seen the impact of an SEC grad. At Southeast, we're redefining the community college experience. You'll do more than build a career. You'll build the place you call home. At SCC, Grant had an expert who did more to build them up, to focus their drive, to shape their resolve. Southeast Community College. Let's do more.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Dana Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Dana Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Dana Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Football Saturdays are back, and the Lincoln Children's Museum has a game plan for your youngest fans. Game day playdates give kids ages 5 to 12 their own unforgettable game day, while you enjoy the action inside the stadium. Drop them off 90 minutes before kickoff and pick them up 1 hour after the game. New this year, purchase a season pass, buy 4 sessions, and receive your 5th free using code FOOTBALL. Space is limited and advanced registration is required. Visit LincolnChildren'sMuseum.org and reserve your spot today.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, owner of A1 Automotive. I want to personally thank you, our customers, for trusting us with your vehicle repair needs. Your support allows us to do what we love, serving people through quality automotive repair. If you're looking for a repair shop that values relationships as much as repairs, we'd love the opportunity to earn your trust. We have 2 locations here in Lincoln, 1117 L Street, 5110 State Hill Drive, and our newest location in Seward, Nebraska, 408 Main Street. Come see us. Visit us online at a1autolincoln.com.
Friends with MedElite Urgent Care in Lincoln remind you that the need for blood continues daily. Unfortunately, our blood banks are extremely low. Our community and our country depend on life-saving donors like you. You are eligible to donate every 56 days, and with each donation, you save up to 3 lives. Please go online and schedule an appointment to donate blood today. Thanks to MedElite Urgent Care in Lincoln for making this message possible. ER skills without the ER bills. Check them out today.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
The Friends with Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning here in Lincoln would like to take this time out to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning here in Lincoln. Let's stay united and keep America safe and strong.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School, hour 3 of the show. I want to give a big thanks to the good folks over at Schwezo Construction, where safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Schwezo is hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back on and off the job site. Apply today at Schwezo.com. 40-plus years strong in business, Schwezo Construction. 402-464-5685. We'll get to the Starter Human Jewelers text line here in just a sec. But, Bach, you came to the realization, and something that I knew in the back of my head, but didn't come to the forefront. 2 guys talking about not playing football also didn't play football.
That's correct, yes.
For me, and it was, number one, I was pretty runty. I was pretty wimpy. Not that that's, everything, but I needed a growth spurt. I just didn't feel like I was ready for high school football. I mean, even JV at the time, but passed for the JV program. There was that aspect of it for me. I know a lot of kids were getting concussions and a lot of injuries that I just didn't necessarily want to go through was a big part of it. And, I think there was some hubris, maybe delusions of grandeur. I wanted to play a certain position. They didn't want me to be there. I don't want to make a position switch. I'm better than that kid. I've been better than him, yada, yada, yada. But
they stick you on the line.
They didn't. Bach. I played C1, but we weren't that desperate.
Well, I've seen it before with some smaller folks in C1. So.
You're right. Yeah, thankfully no. I also could just tell that just wasn't the sport for me. Maybe, I'm sure all that factored into it, but I've never been a run and hit guy. Not that I'm all, personal space necessarily, right? I've played contact sports before, but I just couldn't. It just never clicked with me for football. If this, I hit someone, this is, you got to want to hit them. Passion for pain and violence. That's just never me. And so I think I made the right call. I knew who I was as a person, and football just wasn't it. Had I, gone and played receiver and safety, sure, maybe could have grown into being a decent player. But I also don't necessarily look back and feel like I missed out on anything by not having played high school football.
You don't think any of it for you was, obviously you fell in love with Nebraska football. It wasn't them struggling or not being as good as before.
No, if you would have told 8-year-old Austin that he would be this disaffected by the results of any single Nebraska football game, 8-year-old Austin would have been shocked, right? That was it, right? That was even more than the Royals, right? Which is probably the second team, I think. Like, it was Huskers. We carved out time. It was a big deal to, the fall weddings thing. It was a thing. Why can't watch the game, right? My brothers would leave before the game was over. I would sit there for every second of every game, just what you did. And I hope to be able to instill that in my kids. Obviously, it's a little different in my chosen profession at this point. So no, Nebraska's success or lack thereof didn't inspire me to play, didn't kick me away from playing. And maybe that's, being overrated in our discussion, but I think it's got to be at least a part of the conversation, even subconsciously for kids.
Yeah, I think it is probably for some. Yeah, so I mean, especially again, at least the further you get away from the dominance, right? At least there was still a lot of passion for it when you were growing up, right? I mean, it was still like you were still within arm's reach. Now it feels like you're so far away from those days. But yeah, I mean, I didn't play either. I had a traumatic brain injury, so they told me I couldn't play. I tried to sneak in and still make the team, but my my teacher was the coach. I had already known about it, so he was trying to offer me to to be a manager or something. But
wouldn't even give you kicker.
No.
Really?
They didn't. Maybe I should have asked about that. I didn't necessarily have a skill for that either, but maybe could have tried something. But yeah, I think it was with anything, you could get hit out there. So yeah, that's why I didn't play. But would have liked to have played. And probably similar to you, I don't think I would have made the NFL or anything. So it doesn't keep me up at night thinking about what would happen.
But is there a part of you, or maybe it's not now, but was there ever a part of you that when you saw, healthy, able-bodied people like yours truly just say, I just don't want to, did that not sit right with you then? Like, I want to play and can't. You can play and don't want to?
Oh, I mean, it tore me apart. I mean, that was my dream, right? That's what I very much did grow up wanting to be a Nebraska football player.
Or Kerry Cohorn.
Yeah, or Kerry. Oh, yeah, I could play basketball too. Anyway, and that didn't limit me. They still let me play basketball. I still didn't. I wasn't good enough to do anything. So again, I don't think that I'm naturally athletic or have a whole lot of chance upward to play in college anywhere in any sport. But it did. I mean, it was part of. It was huge. I mean, at the time, it was really frustrating because that was my dream. That was my goal. And at least to get close to it, right? I mean, at least to go out there and play at the high school level would have been really cool. But, just wasn't in the cards. I don't know if I held resentment for anybody that did or didn't go out. It was just, I understood. I got my traumatic brain injury from climbing a tree and falling off it. So kids, stay away from trees. Don't climb them too much. But it was kind of self-inflicted, if you will. So it wasn't like I had a whole lot of people to blame.
I know you got, a couple of young kids, as do I. And my dad has always said football's the one sport he wasn't going to pressure us to play because of not that dad was pressuring us to do anything, but right. And if we're going to be outside, if we're going to be doing something active, football's not the one he was ever going to, push us toward. If we did it, okay, cool, go for it. I know your kids are young. Do you have any sense of how you're going to want to handle that as a dad?
I've thought about it for a long time because it is a very dangerous sport, as we know, a gladiator sport. And I mean, you can, again, at any level, you gather a team together and say, hey, a few of us are going to have to go to the hospital. I mean, we're going to get injured throughout the season. I mean, this is you got to dedicate yourself to it. And that still kind of blows my mind in the human psyche that we're just like, yeah, well, let's still go out there and compete, right? I mean, so that's the way it is. That's the mentality you have to have. And of course, it did dawn on me the other day because I never really, I guess, thought about it too much, but within signing up for school and stuff, they were kind of talking about, okay, at the high school level, you got to sign on, get insurance, all this sort of stuff, pass that over to us. And I think I'll probably take your dad's approach of just, I maybe would feel guilty even, because I'm going to try to get them to be football fans. If they're not, that's okay too, I guess. But it's not going to stop me from watching as much football. And, kids like to look up to the dad and all that. So, but I think that does have to be kind of a personal choice because you are very much risking your own body, your own injury out there.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Money G in Kansas said, underrated part, if your high school had a strong football tradition, it helped promote kids playing high school football. Also, I played in the late 80s. What are concussions? What are you talking about? I don't know. Shane Waverly, even 5 years ago, Saturdays used to be a full day of football revolving around the Husker game. Now it's definitely turned into more of if it doesn't interfere with my other hobbies, but option A is something else, even if I miss the game, which again, and he also says Friday night lights aren't for everyone, which, or Starkey and Bennett that tacks that on. And yeah, I mean, we're not, again, trying to say you're wrong to play or wrong to not play football. It's just fascinating seeing the trend of what's happened in Nebraska over the last 15 years. In case you missed that first segment, there's a study from USA Today compiling some numbers. High school football participation in Nebraska down 32.5%, down about 4,000 kids in the last 15 years in a state that doesn't obviously have a huge population. And I think it's even more striking, Bach, too. And I'm going to be curious to see how the next 10 or so years play out in Nebraska prep sports because of basketball success, right? You've seen what Nebraska volleyball success has done, right? Sure, people always rooted for Husker volleyball, but you've seen the explosion of Husker volleyball going mainstream, volleyball taking off, obviously nationwide. But here at home, how many girls have quit basketball to focus on volleyball, whether or not it's a fall sport or a winter sport? If it's a fall sport, like I think it still is Nebraska, obviously, well, then it's club season in the winter, right? And not playing volleyball and basketball, but just choosing volleyball. I wonder if for the guys, if Nebraska is able to sustain the success, who those little kids in the driveway are growing up trying to pretend to be, right? Is there the whole legion of Sam Hoibergs that's coming? Is there a whole legion of Price Sanfords, of Bryce Williams, of Juwan Gary's, Josiah Alex, et cetera, et cetera? I think, again, the prep talent level in Nebraska has been raised. The numbers for basketball, and again, they shouldn't necessarily take a huge hit either way. They don't necessarily overlap. But I wonder if Nebraska prep basketball is going to see a spike in the next 10 years because of Nebraska basketball success in light of the fewer number of kids that are playing high school football, or what those numbers look like.
Well, like you said, though, I mean, it's so interesting because there's only a certain amount of schools and spots on the rosters for basketball. So it's not like you can have an overwhelming amount more coming in play. So you're probably going to...
I mean, JV teams and reserve teams.
Yeah. I mean, you can have more participation, and hopefully there will be. I mean, I hope that kind of definitely takes place here in the capital city, especially. You see, Sam Hoiberg and Braden Frayer play at the prep level in Lincoln and go on and make history at Nebraska. That's got to be... I keep going back to where you're inspired by it, not just, okay, kind of a cool story. I might watch a little bit more basketball, but like, wow, that could be me. This happened for these Lincoln kids, and just statewide. So hopefully we see that. And certainly I do think it's happened in volleyball. That's been one of the most impressive things, like, what's in the water here in Nebraska, because there's been a lot of really talented preps that go on to play at Nebraska.
Cigar Guy says that same thing. You guys know the names of the basketball players, and not to be overly get off my lawn guy, but with transfers being what they are now, I don't even know who all the main players on the football team are this year. So if I don't know, who are the kids going to know to pretend to be?
Yeah, it is that
different world.
That is something, yeah.
Koopaloop says Austin's dad was my Spanish teacher. He's fantastic and very nice. Coop, I agree. Shout out, Dad.
Did your dad's fluent in Spanish then, obviously?
Very. Yeah.
Cool.
Career Spanish teacher. Seward High.
Do you know a lot of Spanish?
I did. I entered college with my eyes on a Spanish minor.
Okay.
Just one of those things, like, I mean, I have the family background in it a little bit, and I enjoyed it. Like, that's one of my weird, like, nerd things about me is like, language is just so cool. Big words are fun. Other languages are neat. The history of words, where they came from, language background, really interested in all that stuff. One of my friends from high school, I still don't know how this is going to work for him economically, but it must. He's getting his doctorate in linguistics, and he's just studying that stuff. I don't know if I could do that, but words are fascinating. Words are fun. Words are cool. And took a trip to Mexico with my family for my parents' 30th anniversary, I think it was.
Okay.
And wife and I went down to Cancun for our 5-year anniversary last year. And oh boy, did I lose it. When I was there in high school, in it every day or every other day, your boy was rolling. I could do it. I remember my grandma had an estate house sale before she moved to Lincoln. There are a couple Hispanic families that came out, and I was able to actually kind of bridge the gap while my dad was busy. Like, yes, I got this.
Nice.
Oh, it's gone. I completely lost it.
Well, if you don't use it, you lose it. That's for sure. I was joked that I'm bilingual because the University of Nebraska says so. They made me go through, classes, gave me a degree for it. But I'm back to like the first day of Spanish 101. There's not much there.
7768 said, Seward High class of 2001. I always wondered, Austin, you sound like your dad. I'm not sure there's a bigger honor I could have. Love you, Dad. Thanks for listening as always, and for being my dad. We'll go to break. We'll wrap up Old School after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Football Saturdays are back, and the Lincoln Children's Museum has a game plan for your youngest fans. Game day playdates give kids ages 5 to 12 their own unforgettable game day, while you enjoy the action inside the stadium. Drop them off 90 minutes before kickoff and pick them up 1 hour after the game. New this year, purchase a season pass. Buy 4 sessions and receive your 5th free using code FOOTBALL. Space is limited and advanced registration is required. Visit LincolnChildren'sMuseum.org and reserve your spot today.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built upon hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with room for advancement.
Here's your updated 93.7 The Ticket forecast, sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. Daytime highs approaching 88 this afternoon, under overcast skies with a slight chance of thunderstorms. Southeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, slight chance of rain showers, lows dip down to about 71. That's your updated forecast on Lincoln's home for the Kansas City Royals, 93.7 The Ticket. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster. Currently 78.
Do you ever feel okay in your current job and profession, but wonder if there's a better company that can offer more? Vision Mechanical is now hiring for journeyman plumbers and HVAC service technicians. Vision Mechanical offers top-of-the-industry wages, 100% paid health, disability, and life insurance, 401k with employee match, and paid holidays and vacation. Vision Mechanical believes in craftsmanship, teamwork, and building a better future, one project at a time. Apply today or learn more at visionmechanical.net or email Ron at vmech.net.
The Friends with Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning here in Lincoln would like to take this time out to thank our first responders, doctors, nurses, and the healthcare professionals who put their lives in harm's way for our protection. Blood donation centers need people to donate blood. Be a silent hero and donate blood today. It will help accident victims, surgery patients, sick children, and members of our military. This message is from Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning here in Lincoln. Let's stay united and keep America safe and strong.
Looking for a fun way to give back? Join us for the 2026 Kicks for Kids Nebraska Fun Run Walk, presented by Pinnacle Bank, on Saturday, August 22nd at James Arthur Vineyard. Enjoy a scenic 5K through beautiful grounds. Every step helps provide shoes to kids in Lincoln and Lancaster County schools, with options for adults, wine included, and kids. Registration fees include a t-shirt, medal, and bag. Sign up today and make a difference at kicksforkidsnebraska.org.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back one final time to Old School on a Monday with a huge tip of the cap. A big thank you to the good folks over at Graham Tire Company. Been a fun hour. Appreciate Bach for sitting in, having some fun conversations here. He's got the other shows to prep for. How dare he? No, appreciate Bach sitting in there for the hour. Really appreciate that. And all your participation on our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. Let's get back to that here real quick before we give you your lunchtime lineup. Starkey and Bennett says, I coach Class A, B, C2, and D2. I loved it and hated it. Parents are nuts. Kids are stressed. The game has absolutely changed. Eric says, you and me, Austin, one-on-one Oklahoma drill. No response. The response is, where, Eric? Right here on O Street. We got cameras right in front. Come on down. We'll do it. Right there. Oklahoma drill. I'm wearing Jay's pads, though. Just kidding. I would be swimming in those things. 8893 says, no walk-ons, no motivation. I'm not sure I can quite go that far, but I do think that, walk-on program, instilling the mindset, the hunger, that should be there in all players, and I'm not saying it's not, so please don't misunderstand me. But I do think when you have, 30, 40, maybe even up to 50 guys at times working their hardest because being a Nebraska football player is all they ever wanted to do, all they ever wanted to be, guys that don't lose sight of not just that goal, but that dream, someone that wants to make it hopefully in a healthy way, their identity, what they become known for, or something they can tell their kids and their grandkids is that, I was a Husker football player, whether it was scholarship or walk-on, whether it was 1,000 snaps or 10 snaps, whatever it was. I think that it's not just Nebraska that's struggling with some of that. I think a bunch of programs would tell you, it just doesn't feel the same. We're having some issues in terms of this motivation and an inspiration factor like Bach was talking about. So I don't think it's just a Nebraska issue by any sense of the imagination, but it's funny to see these numbers come out, and we're talking about the Nebraska angle where they've lost, the state has lost about 1/3 of its players over the last 15 years in high school football. And yet the popularity and the reach and the growth of the NFL continuing to explode, with college football expanding its playoff, with more money being added to the sports seemingly day after day. Feels kind of odd to be talking about football could be facing a reckoning, but I don't know. Football, it just feels like it's walking the line in a lot of ways. And perception is reality, but we also have to make sure we're clear on what the facts are, because the facts would tell you that 32 of the 50 states in the union saw increased participation over the last 15 years. It would tell you, according to that USA Today write-up and study, that even from COVID, you've seen a 33,000 player rebound and climbing. So that didn't dent the growth of high school football across the country. I don't say the issue, but the crux of the matter is, where is the growth happening. Right now, a lot of the growth is happening in the bigger states, right? You heard those numbers out of California and Texas being the largest. Those two states are adding more kids to high school football rosters. More kids are participating in high school football. And I don't think football wants to go the way of, football for me, but not for thee. I think that football at its best brings people together from all sorts of backgrounds, right? And rallies them around a common cause and a common goal. And I think that can still be there in the game of football, but how the game is played on the field, what it looks like off the field, there are at least conversations to be had. Brian says, I feel like it was so much more being offered right now. Football is less of a priority. Again, I'm sure in individual cases that's true. I'm sure in individual states that's true. But across the country, 32 out of 50 states have actually seen increased participation. So the way we talk about it might not be matching up with the data. 1154, appreciate your text as well. We'll wrap up with a little bit from the world of swimming, funny enough. Today in 2008, Michael Phelps wins his 8th gold of the 2008 Olympics, passes Mark Spitz for the most in a single Olympic Summer Games. And then over the weekend, Katie Ledecky, as we talk about the downfall of institutions, what's going wrong? Are there big problems to be had? For the first time in 14 years, Katie Ledecky loses her competition, the 800 freestyle, on the international stage. Lainey Pallister from Australia beats Katie Ledecky by a second and change. Ledecky does end up with the silver medal, said it was her best swim of the year. But shout out to Lainey Pallister taking down Katie Ledecky. First time again in 14 years in international competition that Katie Ledecky has lost in her signature event, the 800 freestyle. Am I worried about Katie Ledecky? Yeah, probably not. I mean, even Scotty Scheffler, right? There were some rumblings. There were some qualms. When's Scotty going to figure it out? Well, Scotty figured it out this weekend at FedEx St. Jude Championship. Ends up winning a big one. He maintains his unbeaten streak when he holds an outright lead entering Sunday. Good stuff there. Big thanks to Jay Foreman. As always, Jake Bakoven for sitting in with me here for hour 3 of the show. Don't go anywhere. We will have the Adam Carricker Show coming up next. We do want to tell you one more time about Graham Tire Company, the sponsor of Old School, celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. Old School back 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll see you there.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and new Sierra and Silverado trucks continue to roll in, and August is a great time to upgrade. Right now, get new GMC Sierras for under $50,000, or get 2.9% financing for 72 months plus $1,500 bonus cash. Visit us in Louisville or anytime at koppelcars.com. Stock number G306367 with approved credit.
Looking for a fun way to give back? Join us for the 2026 Kicks for Kids Nebraska Fun Run Walk, presented by Pinnacle Bank, on Saturday, August 22nd at James Arthur Vineyard. Enjoy a scenic 5K through beautiful grounds. Every step helps provide shoes to kids in Lincoln and Lancaster County schools, with options for adults, wine included, and kids. Registration fees include a t-shirt, medal, and bag. Sign up today and make a difference at kicksforkidsnebraska.org.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. It doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS